Hello? Hello. How are we? It's been 2 weeks. Yes, also, I let the song play twice because I didn't realize it was only a minute long, and I was like, there's no way in hell I'm just letting this song play once and call it good. But hi, how are we? I hope we're all doing well. Um, we're just gonna relax today, as is evident from the title and the thumbnail that I lazily reused. Anyway, now, of course, before we get on to what we're doing today, let us go over to our announcements. I do have a few new ones that I have included, or at least, yes, two new ones that I have included that I want to discuss with you all. And so, as always, excuse me, let us start with all the news below uh, that we have displayed, and then we will come back to talking about Palestine. So, let's begin. Sudan is currently in a war between the Sudanese Armed Forces and paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. Sudanese children have been burned, whether alive or not, it is still deplorable. There has been a boycott called for the United Arab Emirates / Dubai. It is said that they don't have any gold mines and that they are killing, raping, and terrorizing Sudanese people for their gold. And so don't buy any gold from them. Don't participate in any tourism. Avoid going to the United Arab Emirates or Dubai or buying any products from Dubai or the United Arab Emirates. I also have news that states that women in Sudan are being forced to have sexual intercourse with soldiers to obtain food for their families, and this is a form of sex slavery. Also, sorry, I'm struggling to talk today. I apologize. Congo is in the midst of a silent genocide. Many are being worked to death as slaves in mines in order to mine for coltan, which is a valuable mineral that is used in electronics like phones or computers. They are the #1 producer of this mineral. Millions have been killed and are currently being killed. Women are sexually assaulted, and men and children are forced to work in inhumane conditions, with over 6 million people having been killed thus far. Yemen recently was bombed on the 23rd of July. They are also facing famine, as well as, I don't know if they're facing a drought, but they are facing a famine, and they have for a very long time. And Haiti is, of course, experiencing gang violence. If you would like to support Sudan, Congo, Yemen, or Haiti, or many other places that are currently, at least these four, I know that there are other places that I need to research into and get links for, but if you would like to support these four, colonized places that are in the midst of genocides, whether silent or public, there are links down below. I also have links to a fundraiser that was started by a Twitter user at sitcomabed, SITCOMABED, that was started on their Ko-fi for Sudan and Palestine. There is also the Posterity International link. They are currently trying to raise over $70,000 to provide hygiene kits to displaced people in Congo. The goal is to provide over 10,000 hygiene kits that contain essential items like soap, toothpaste, and sanitary products. There is also the campaign that was started by TikTok user at atute_insp, ATUTE, then _INSP. Along with her team Mutual Aim. They are trying to collect money for Congo, Sudan, and Tigray. The donations will be divided between the three causes, so if you would like to donate but don't have the funds to donate to multiple campaigns, this is a great way to help Congo, Sudan, and Tigray. So all of those links will be down below. We are coming on the tail end of July, and thus we are ending BIPOC Mental Health Awareness Month, as well as Disability Pride Month. There are links below if you would like to look through the resources that I have culminated to support BIPOC in terms of their mental health, as well as charities to look into that support disabled people. And we celebrate all kinds of disabilities here, whether they be physical, whether they be mental, whether they have some sort of chronic illness, or if they just any kind of disability is supported here, no matter who you are, what your disability is. Love all disabled people, love all people who struggle with mental health, but especially give support to those who are BIPOC and are struggling with their mental health, of course. I also, of course, want to talk about Sonia Massey, who was recently murdered by a police officer in Illinois. I have an article pulled up because I am aware of what happened to Sonia, as I am aware of many Black people who have been murdered by police officers. But just to make sure I get all the facts correct, I will be reading through this article quickly. This article is on CNN, written by Eric Levinson. It states that body camera footage showing the fatal police shooting of Sonia Massey, a 36-year-old Black woman who had called 911 for help, was released Monday in a case that had led to murder charges against the deputy. He has worked at 6 different police precincts, I believe, and was fired from 4. And has had charges against him in the past. Also, Sonia Massey has schizophrenia, paranoid schizophrenia, and she called 911, as it stated in the article, for help. And the police officer perceived what she said, which was, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," which is a statement that Black people use to say, "I don't need your help," or something along those lines. It's a very not like a casual phrase that is used in casual conversation between Black people. He perceived this as a threat and shot her. Didn't even turn on his body cam footage until afterward. And so I wanted to bring awareness of this. I know it's been swirling on social medias here and there, but I don't think it's getting talked about nearly as enough as is the case with a lot of cases where Black women especially are murdered. I haven't seen a case in an instance where a Black woman was shot to death get as much coverage as since Breonna Taylor, I believe, but it is still occurring. So talk about her, say her name. Talk about all the Black people that are victims to police violence, whether they be murdered or they are brutalized. Talk about them, because this is a systemic issue, and it has been a systemic issue since the beginning of this country, so even before then. But still, just talk about her and send as much support as you can to her family at this time. I don't think there are any ways to support her family directly. I think the mother has discouraged people from trying to send money their way. So, but still, just support them in whatever way you can. Just talk about her. Talk about her. That is what is most important. And also, do what you can to, in your local community to discuss police violence and do something about it, like defunding the police or protesting against the police. And, just talk about her. Talk about her. The SAG-AFTRA strikes are starting up again, but for video games. I have the SAG-AFTRA website pulled up in front of me, and I will read what they put on their official website in response to this strike that they have called. So that it says, SAG-AFTRA members who perform in video games are going on strike against all video game companies signed to the Interactive Media Agreement, effective at 12:01 a.m. on Friday, July 26th, so yesterday. The vote to strike comes after more than a year and a half of negotiations without a deal. Although agreements have been reached on many issues important to SAG-AFTRA members, the employers refuse to plainly affirm in clear and enforceable language that they will protect all performers covered by this contract in their AI language. So they are striking, and I believe the companies that they have listed on their website are some of the companies. I can't seem to find them currently, but there are websites, there are companies that are being struck against, and there are very clear guidelines against what you can and can't do. And I highly suggest you go to their website. It's just SAGAFTRA, all one word, .org, and look up what it is. The guidelines of this strike are, and send your support, of course. I'm fully behind the SAG-AFTRA strikes. They don't deserve to have their voices replicated in AI, and I hope that they come to an agreement, of course. They deserve fully support and love. Of course, I'm always behind voice actors. Those guys are the coolest people I've ever had the pleasure of even talking to in some instances. So send your support their way. And do research, of course. Do your research. The Oaxaca fires that took place in Mexico were devastating. It devastated the indigenous people of Mexico, and the government has done nothing to support the indigenous population. And so there are links below if you would like to support the indigenous population of Oaxaca. The Rio Grande do Sul floods were incredibly deadly and devastating and have killed at least 100 people, maybe more, and have displaced more than 200,000. So if you would like to learn more or send your support to the people of Rio Grande do Sul, there are links down below. Although I have linked some articles, they are in Portuguese, which is the language that is spoken in Rio Grande do Sul since it is in Brazil. So if you don't mind like translating it, or if you read Portuguese, then go for it. But of course there are articles out there that talk about this in English as well. Indigenous tribes have been stripped of their clean water rights. There is a New York Times article linked down below from when this happened to the Navajo, as well as links to support indigenous people. The wildfires that tore through Maui were incredibly devastating. It tore through a historic town and devastated just tons and tons of buildings, as well as killed a ton of people. So if you would like to support, I know they're rebuilding now, but still it is important we put our support behind the indigenous population of Maui, so there are links down below if you would like to support them. And finally, before we talk about news pertaining to Palestine, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of businesses discriminating against the LGBT, so there are links below if you would like to support LGBT people at this time. Alright, let's talk about Palestine. Okay, so tons and tons of Palestinians have been killed, of course, because Israel has not stopped bombing. They have not stopped the genocide. Of course, Netanyahu came through America and spoke in the spoke to Congress on the 24th. Protesters marched through D.C. toward the Capitol to protest Netanyahu's visit. Police tried to break it up, of course. And, of course, he spoke in Congress. That didn't stop him at all. He spoke in Congress, and he received a standing ovation. I believe Rashida Tlaib, who was the only Palestinian there, had a sign that said, like, war criminal and a genocider. He's committed genocide. She just held that sign up the whole time, and I think she also had a Palestinian pin on her, of course, and she also had a keffiyeh because she is Palestinian. No one else, of course, cared. They were just like, yeah, we got a war criminal here. Who cares? So such is the government. Pakistan has decided to officially recognize the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu as a terrorist, and also after 76 years, the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, has now labeled Israel's practices in occupied Palestine territories as an apartheid, which means they are no longer recognized as a state. They are now being recognized as an apartheid, which is a monumental step in that's huge. I don't know how to state that any better, but that is massively huge. How that will progress further, we will have to see. I wish more would be done. I wish the apartheid would be dismantled and Palestine will finally have all of their territory back, but we will have to see, and that one can hope. But, I have faith that we will see a free Palestine in our lifetimes. Let's see what else. Israeli airstrikes hit a school that was used by displaced Palestinians in central Gaza on Saturday, killing at least 30 people, including several children, as the country's negotiators prepared to meet international mediators about a proposed ceasefire. 7 children and 7 women were among the dead, taken from this school in Deir al-Balal and to Al-Aqsa Hospital. And the last thing I have to say is there has been a strike called from the 11th of August to the 18th, so that does fall on a Saturday, I believe. Let me look at my calendar. Yes, the 17th of that week is a Saturday, and so I will be participating in the strike. As always, when we strike, we do not go to work, we do not go to school, we withhold our funding. We don't participate in businesses. We spread around helpful resources. I believe you're still able to donate to GoFundMe's if Palestinians, if you are looking for places to donate to. You can donate to charities, to GoFundMe's, to support Palestinians who are trying to get out of Gaza. Yeah. I would urge you to look further into this. And also, the person who called for the strike is Palestinian. So, I believe that is all the news I have. And of course, there is a link below to support Palestinians, as always. And it is being updated as time goes on, as I find new links to add to support Palestinians. And yeah, that is all of the news that I have for you today. Let me put the music on and let us switch screens. But thank you all again, as always, for goodness, I'm trying to find a happy medium. There we go. Thank you guys, as always, for whenever I talk about the news. I know not a lot of people like when I talk about the news, because you're like, oh, just get on with it, which is like, hello, I'm talking about a literal genocide right now. Jesus Christ, have some glass. But yeah, but I thank you as always for listening. I appreciate it greatly. But yeah, hi. Hello everyone. Hello, moderator Leah. It is good to see you. It's good to see you all. It's been 2 weeks. Holy macaroni, it feels like a century has gone by. Sorry, I'm like fixing stuff up behind me. Uh-oh. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain a smooth stream. Lovely. When is it never? The summer is just like the worst time for me to stream. Because like, I swear, the heat just like actively kills my stream. But hi, I hope you all are doing well. What do I have to talk to you guys a bit about before we get into what I really want to do today? I was gone last week because, my girlfriend's friend, our mutual friend, had a birthday, and we went way the fuck out to go, hang out with them, which was really fun. It was nice to get out of the house for a bit, even if I was stressed out. We went to a fair, a really mini one, not like a big, huge official one. It was like a mini fair. There were a whole bunch of tents and booths set up. It was awful. I didn't like it. I was overwhelmed immediately because it was really hot outside, first of all. Second of all, I was hurting something bad. I was like trying to walk and my hips just started hurting and my back was hurting and I was really overwhelmed and I just was like, I need to get the fuck out of here before I die. Which I felt really bad about. Where the other moderator? Where's the other? Oh, you mean my girlfriend? She's around. Don't pressure her. She's here. Even if she's not, who cares? We have one moderator. Anyway, but yeah, I had a bad time and I felt real bad. I was like, I'm so sorry. I kept apologizing the whole time. I was like, I'm so sorry I shut down, and everyone was like, no, you're fine. It's okay. And I just still felt bad the whole time. I bought my girlfriend a frog because she got me a whole bunch of stuff for my birthday that she finally got to give me, and so I was like, oh, your birthday recently passed, so I'm gonna buy you something. So I bought her like a hand-crocheted frog for like $10, and I also bought a pack of stickers for $5, so I have, it was a fair trade. Then we went to like a comic book store / general like nerdy store. There was a whole bunch of tabletop role-playing games and board games and stuff. It was like a nerd's little haven. And I use nerd affectionately because, oh my god, I was nerding out the whole time I was there. I was in pain, but I had a fun time there. I bought a singular volume of a manga. Like a Yuri manga. Hang on, what is it called? It's called The Moon on a Rainy Night. And I'm excited to read it. And see if it's good, because it's lesbians. Oh, my ass also got stuck in a children's rocking chair. I wish I was kidding. My ass got stuck in a rocking chair. And I had to have 2 people pull me out of it. Because I couldn't get out. But yeah, and then, well, before we went there, we went to, like, get food. Because I was dying because I didn't eat breakfast. And then we went to the comic book store. And then we did laser tag, which was not fun for all of us in the sense that, like, it was so hot. It was really warm in there. We only did 1 round because it was so expensive for, like, 6-7 people to play laser tag. I got dead last. I did horribly. I was so bad at laser tag. I was like, yeah, no. I gave up after a certain point, but I was really good at sniping people from a distance. I've always been really good at that in, like, video games and shit. I've always been good at, like, if I ever play, like, a first-person shooter, which is, like, never, but in a rare instance I do, I'm really good at sniping people from distances, just because I'm, like, good at calculating how far they are in real quick, in a real quick situation. I'm just like, pew, pew, pew. That's my one claim to fame, is being able to shoot people from a distance in laser tag. But yeah, after that, I think we went to, we went and got slushies and then we left, and that was the end of it, because it was like 6, 7 o'clock, 7, 8. It was late. It was very, very late by the time we finished. But it was fun. We hung out, got to talk with her friends some more. They're so nice. My girlfriend's friends are so nice. Like, I felt so bad. Like, every single time I was like, I just kept apologizing because I felt like I was not doing a good job with social interaction. They were like, dude, you are so fine. It's okay. And I was like, okay. Every single time I have had to play laser tag at a social event, I just hide somewhere and wait for it to be over the mouth. I tried, but my tactic was hugging the wall, the far wall, and they just kept, I was just like a fucking beacon, and they just kept getting me. Which is fine. I do not like laser tag at all, but I was like, I'll be a good sport about it. I'm not gonna complain. I'll take the opportunity, I don't care. But I just felt bad. I just like, but at least I got blue as my color, and blue is one of my favorite colors, so I was fine with it. But yeah, the arcade though, oh, the arcade was so loud. But either way, it was fun. My entire body was so sore the next day. Oh! You know what's so funny is I had a period of, like, going somewhere, taking a break, going somewhere, taking a break, going somewhere for, like, a couple of days, because, I went on the 20th is when the event, like, the birthday party happened. Then I had a break day, and then immediately after that I had my interview for my job prospect. And then I had a break, and then I went and got my hair cut, so I just, like, had... I was struggling to find some rest for a bit, but I have found rest now. Also, I had a job interview, by the way, if you didn't see my community post that I did a little bit ago. I went and did my job interview. It was terrifying. I studied so hard. Bless my dad. He helped me out with studying for the interview. He printed out example questions that might be asked of me during the interview and helped me study for it to get my language concise and that I had it down basically to a science. And we did that for a period of like 3 days. No, not even 3. It was 2 days because I had to go somewhere on Saturday. So by the time Monday rolled around, I was ready. The chat manifesting worked, woohoo. You guys really pulled through. Everybody I ever talked about the interview to pulled through and giving me their good luck, like collective good luck. Because when I got in for my interview, first of all, I looked good. Like, I was like, oh, I look kind of like a desk clerk. But I also was like, you know what, I kind of look good. I had a pin on. of some forget-me-nots that my girlfriend gave me that I wore for good luck, and also the necklace that she gave me too. Got in there, waited for like, I got there 10 minutes early because they told me to be there 10 minutes early, and look, I'm going to be punctual because I gotta show up and make an impression. And I did. I got there 10 minutes early. I waited out the 10 minutes. I met the person who was going to be conducting the interview, gave them a handshake. They went through the questions. They printed out the questions so that I could read them ahead of time, bless them. And I was in and out in like 15 minutes. And boom, I was done. Since my car is broken, basically, my mom had to drive me over, and so when I got back out, my mom was like, what happened? Because I was so quick with the interview. It was also really early. I had to be there by like 9 was when my interview was. I was in and out in 15 minutes, and she's like, what happened? And I was like, I just flew through it. I didn't even really stutter. I just was like straight, like, tunnel visioned it. I think there was only one question, though, that I could put my practice answer that I got through into it. But otherwise, like, all the other ones I had to, like, adapt to. And I think I did fine. I was also the first interview of the day. So I'm expecting to hopefully hear from them this time, like, next week. By, like, Tuesday, I think he said. I should hear something either by Tuesday or sometime this coming week. I'm crossing a finger. I have been so nervous. So nervous. Because I'm like, God, I hope I get the job. I prepped so hard for this job. If I don't get it, fair is fair. But also, I'll be really sad. But, you know, I also have another place that I had lined up. I applied to 2 places nearly at the same time. So hopefully I'll hear something from the other place soon. If I don't get this job. But I'm getting it. I'm getting that job. I sound cocky, but I'm trying to sound confident. Please give me this job. I sound desperate now, Jesus. You were locked in? Hell yeah. I was like, I got the answer. You know, I could have worded some of the answers I did differently. Maybe, but I still think I answered pretty well. And also, you know, I asked the questions at the very end. Asked them what was my schedule looking like, what kind of grade levels am I working with, what's the policies on equity, inclusion, and diversity, etc., etc. I only asked 3 questions, but, like, I've been nervously, like, looking over at my phone just to get, like, I get a call. But if I don't get the job, so be it. It's fine. It's fine. But at the same time, lightning strike twice, please. We gotta keep manifesting. I know, it's like, please keep manifesting, chat. I'm kidding. Look, no pressure. I've been manifesting it so hard. I'm like, sat in my room that night like, I'm getting that job. There's no fucking way I'm not getting that job, goddammit. I think I set the standard, you know? Even though I sound cocky in my head, and I'm like, please, God, I need to not do that. Anyway. So I needed to gush about that because, oh my God. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are aware that this interview was eating up so much of my energy and giving me the worst imaginable anxiety and stress. So to have it out of the way now is like, oh, but then there's like a whole new stress of waiting to hear back from the fucking people who conducted the interview. So I'm like, please, God, please. Anyway. That's all I got in terms of updates. Of course, I went and got my hair cut, too, which is great, because my stupid hair was in my face the whole time for the interview. Why couldn't they have asked for me to come in after I had my haircut? Well, whatever. It's fine. Last week, my friend and I went on a 5-hour road trip for a show we didn't get to see. LOL, so I'm still kind of salty about it. I'm so sorry. That sucks. 5 hours, too? Jeez, that is such a, that's such a time commitment sink, too. Like, you guys have to have a bunch of, like, you gotta prep for that. Like, you have to have gas, you have to have snacks, you gotta pull out the route, make sure you have, like, places you can go for bathroom breaks and stuff. That's just, I'm so sorry. I hope that this little hangout on stream will relegate that saltiness a little bit, make it a little easier. But we're here. We're existing. Because I don't want to do anything major, and also, I'm gonna be so honest with you guys when I say that I have nothing planned. Would you guys believe me if I said that I didn't plan for this stream at all? Or even I don't have anything planned for next week. I am struggling because all of my brain power has been put into all of this. Anyway, you have 5 hours for an Elliott Smith vinyl, pretty much? Oh, jeez. Well, you got something out of it, at least. Though it's not a show, but you still got a little memento. I don't know, I'm sorry. It sucks, though. It really does suck. In any case, let's have a nice little hangout today. And just let's talk about movies, because, like, that's what the title of the stream is, obviously. And also, I was like thinking about it for the past couple of days. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna talk about on stream? Because there's only so much you guys can endure with me talking about daily life stuff. I also have poems that I wrote that I would love to read to you guys, but maybe I'll save that for later in stream. If there's like a lull and I'm like burnt out a little bit from talking about movies, and maybe I'll pull out the poems, because I wrote like 3 in the past 2 days now, and I'm kind of proud of them. Well, I'm proud of 2 of them. The third one I'm like, I rambled on a little too much maybe, but I'll pop them out, I promise, but just not right now. But let's talk about movies, because I've been doing something a little stupid. So ever since my interview on the 22nd, for the past several days now, I have been watching a horror movie every single day off of either Tubi or Shudder. And because, you know, I have my ways of watching movies that I will not divulge, but, because I like to lay down and like watch movies a lot, because I have a TV in my room, Shudder and Tubi have been my best friends. Mostly Tubi. Tubi is my best friend. Last movie I saw in theaters was I saw the TV Glow, and I cried in the theater and got embarrassed. Everyone keeps saying that. Every single post I have ever seen about I saw the TV Glow has been about them crying. And I want to see it, because I saw Jane Schoenberg's last movie, We Are All Going to the World's Fair, and I thought it was pretty good. I got jump scared though by a couple of guest appearances in the movie, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, hang on. Hold everything. I haven't seen a movie in theaters in like years. I think the last one I saw in theaters was the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. The second one, because I was dragged there. I didn't want to see it, but I saw it because my friends at the time wanted to see it. And I was like, I'm not gonna deny my friends. Hang on, I'm putting in a stick of gum in my mouth. So anyway, yes, for the past couple of days, I've been watching a horror movie a day. Whether it be off of Shudder or Tubi. But also, I've been doing some rewatches, mostly with my girlfriend. Oh, well, rewatches and a new watch. Because I need to tell you guys about this first before I divulge into the stupidity that is watching a movie every single day, because I've had some hits and some misses. If you've ever experienced gender dysphoria, it hits very hard. Oh dear God, then I am going to cry mega hard when I watch that movie. Oh boy. But, excuse me. My girlfriend and I did this very dumb thing that I insisted on, where we did what I have christened the Corey Feldman trilogy. If you guys don't know who Corey Feldman is, he's an actor. He was a child star in the, like, late 70s, early 80s. His breakout hits He's had a lot of movies, but I think if you know him from anything, you must know him from The Goonies, if you have ever seen The Goonies. If not, then Stand By Me, probably. But this is so stupid because my girlfriend and I have a list on Letterboxd of movies that we want to get through, and I add movies to it periodically. Thank you for the game recommendation, but we're not taking game recommendations at this moment. I'm talking about movies, but thank you. But also, I don't take game recommendations. Thank you. Please don't put them unsolicited in chat. What was I saying? Oh, so we have this list on Letterboxd that I made of movies that I think we should watch together. And one of those movies on there was The Goonies, because I had never seen The Goonies before, and she's never seen The Goonies either. So I put it on there, and we've gone through so many other movies, and then eventually I was like, oh my god, I just really want to watch The Goonies. So what ended up happening was I was like, we need to watch other movies that Corey Feldman is in, other than The Goonies, because it's like really funny if we do that. And also, I was craving a rewatch of The Lost Boys because, like, God, I love that movie. So what ended up happening is we watched a trilogy of movies back to back whenever we had time to hang out and watch a movie. We watched The Goonies, The Lost Boys, and then Stand By Me, which I've christened the Corey Feldman trilogy. It's the stupidest thing ever, but it was really fun. So my verdict on, like, all three of those, two of them I'm biased for, but I'll still give you my honest answers. The Goonies, for as much as an influential movie as it was at that time period that it came out in the 80s, it is not a good movie. I hated it. I hated it so much. It was not good. The main cast was insufferable. They hated their friend Chunk and would embarrass him at every opportunity. The only character that I liked was Dada, and he was played by Ke Huy Quan, and I fucking love Ke Huy Quan, so it was just like, he was the only good character in it, and otherwise, terrible movie, horrible movie, aged like milk. It says he was in some Friday the 13th movies, but I have not seen any of those, so I might just be having, look, I'm gonna advise you, I don't like Corey Feldman. The only reason why we did this was because I thought it would be funny. Corey Feldman, in terms of his acting, he's like a mixed bag. Either he plays really okay characters or really bad characters. But he has one archetype of a character that he plays, and that's annoying. Annoying characters. In any case, Goonies, not good. Did not like it at all. I still think about it occasionally because it is, I don't know how it was such an influential children's movie. They say such bad, it's a kid's movie and they say all kinds of fucking swears in it. And I was just like, okay. Yeah, and then Lost Boys, I'm very biased against because I love The Lost Boys. It's not a good movie either. But I love it on the merit that it's bad, but it's still good. And also has some really interesting things to think about in it. Also, it's made by a gay director, so, like, there's some gay undertones in it. It also has Corey Feldman in it, but most importantly, it's got Alex Winter in it. And you may know Alex Winter from the Bill and Ted movies. Excellent! My girlfriend and I are obsessed with those movies, by the way. Do not like Keanu Reeves because he's a Zionist, but I stand behind the fact that I love Bill and Ted because they're stupid. They're stupid, goofy movies to put on when you're bored. Much like The Lost Boys. Entertaining. They say Michael's name a little too many times. A lot of people think the sections with like Corey Haim and Corey Feldman are annoying because they are reminiscent of Goonies because of the original way the script was written for the movie. I don't find them that annoying. I think it actually is, it's fine. I just think that like the pacing's a bit weird and the integration of like characters is not good because there's like if we're gonna be honest with ourselves here, there are only like 5 main characters, and that's the mom, the little brother, Michael, David, the head vampire, and that's it. Actually, there's only 4. Oh, the grandpa. The only time I ever saw the Goonies was at this one function in high school, and I was not sober, lol, so my memory of it is definitely warped. Oh, that's so fair. I don't think I could have watched it. I don't know how I watched this movie sober. It was such a nightmare. But, yeah, Lost Boys, I'm biased. I like it a lot. I think the deaths in it are cool. I also just really like Alex Winter. He's a cool dude. But yeah. It's also just a top-tier vampire movie because of how, like, it doesn't make sense, but it's good. Also, Sexy Sax Guy. There's a guy on the pier in Santa Carla, the fictional town of Santa Carla, who's just got a saxophone, and he's oiled up, and he's playing the saxophone like his life depends on it, and it is great. Love that guy. He's very cool. Anyway. And then finally, there's Stand By Me, which is a Stephen King adaptation of his short story, The Body, which I could not finish for the life of me. That short story is so boring! Stephen King is just, like, the worst. This man doesn't know when to fucking put the pencil down. The guy just keeps going with description. I stopped reading at the point where they got to the train tracks on the bridge, like, over the water, because he was describing the rivets that made up the bridge that held up the train tracks on it. It was so boring. But the movie is very good. I think it is probably, like, it's such a comfort movie for me. I've seen it so many times and also cried my fucking eyes out. Every single time. River Phoenix is a standout performer in it. Yes, Corey Feldman is in it, and he does a pretty okay job in the role that he plays as Teddy, but, River Phoenix, rest in peace, but goddamn was he doing a good job. I love his performance in this movie, and it makes me cry every single time. Excuse me. Stephen King yaps so much he desperately needs a proofreader or something, I don't know. He needed a proofreader for fucking It, because oh my fucking god, that book needs to be skimmed down. It's 1,000 pages of the same thing over and over again. I don't know how the fuck I read that entire book. Not that I ever want to read Stephen King again, by the way. Stephen King's a Zionist and, like, just not a good man. I'm not by any means giving him any credit for, like, anything. The guy sucks. I just own a lot of his books because I used to read some of his stories growing up, but, like, you know. I'm not gonna be able to join because I have lunch. That's fair. That's alright. There's always the VOD. You can always watch the VOD later. Don't worry. This is gonna be up forever. Unless the internet explodes. But yeah. Stand By Me also has Kiefer Sutherland in it, much like The Lost Boys, which is also very funny. We watched those movies out of order because it should have been like Goonies, Stand By Me, and then Lost Boys, because I think Stand By Me came out before Lost Boys, but it's so funny to go back in time and see Kiefer Sutherland's first role as a horrible person. I loved it, though. It was very good. Love Kiefer Sutherland. He's a... Actually, I don't know if I should say that. I don't know if he's a Zionist or not, because I don't keep up with him, but in any case, he did a good job in that movie. Stand By Me is just, like, one of those movies that I hold very... Like, I love showing it to people, This is the movie, like, Dead Poet Society, Stand By Me, and Rocky Horror are, like, the 3 movies I love showing people. Also, But I'm a Cheerleader. Of course, But I'm a Cheerleader. Those are, like, my favorite movies to show people, because I either cry my eyes out, which is not fun, but also fun at the same time. But also, I just love showing those movies to people, because, like, you never know if it'll become your favorite or not. And I remember, like, I've had mixed results with showing people Stand By Me, though, because it's either they really like the movie, or they find it middling, or they hate it. There's nothing in between. I really like it. When I showed my girlfriend, she was like, it's okay. She was like, it's alright. Much as a response to most of the movies that I show her. But one of these days, I'm gonna show her a movie that she's really gonna enjoy, and I think the closest we got was Doubt, with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Meryl Streep and Amy Adams. Anyway, sorry. For a person who doesn't like celebrity culture, I'm really good at remembering celebrity names for some reason. I hate living in a celebrity-obsessed society. Anyway. Friends, let's talk about the movies that I've been watching this week. Hang on. Oh god, I lost chat. Chat, where did you go? Chat! There you go. I found you, chat. No worries. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the movie posters to give you a visual of what I'm talking about on stream, and we'll go from there. So the first one I watched. Oops, I spelt that wrong. Very unfortunate misspelling. Whoops. I'll get this trailer blurred poster, because it's the one that I think I tolerate the most out of the posters that I've seen. Okay. Oops, that's Discord, not the thing that I was looking for. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying not to chew my gum so obnoxiously. Alright. Oh, jeez. So the first movie I watched was Sleepaway Camp, because I heard it was controversial. And you know me, I'm curious at all times. Forever curious, if you will, about basically anything I hear that piques my interest, that doesn't sound too bad. But I've heard controversy about Sleepaway Camp for, like, years now. It's probably the horror movie that I've heard the most controversy about, other than... Huh, that's a hard one. I can't actually think of another horror movie that's had major controversy surrounding it. Other than just, like, word of mouth, I guess. Hi, Neptunes. Welcome in. I'm talking about movies that I watched for every single day this week. And I'm going to continue watching movies till the end of the month. So I got, like, 4 more days. Who knows? I might watch a movie every single day still till I drop off the face of the planet. Who knows? I don't know. It's been fun. Anyway, Sleepaway Camp. I'm gonna go into... here's what I'm gonna do. I want to talk about spoilers pertaining to a lot of the movies that I'm discussing. So... there's gonna be spoiler talk, but I'm gonna do, like, a non-spoilery, just basic rundown of the plot, and then I'm gonna do spoilers. Do you guys care? Actually, I should ask you guys first. Do you guys care if I do spoilers for these movies that I'm talking about? Because, like, I know a lot of people that are just like, oh, don't spoil a movie for me. I want to go in not knowing it beforehand. Which is fair. I'm one of those people that doesn't mind spoilers necessarily, because it preps me going into the movie, like, knowing what I'm in for. There's some movies where I don't do that, but most movies that I've done, I have, seen a review of it, or heard of a review of it, and actively went and, watched it, still anyway. But that's just my brain, though. I'll wait for a second to see if people give their input. I'm fine with spoilers. I don't know about anybody else. You know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll give, like, a thing. I'll make a little thing that says, oops. Spoiler discussion. I spelled discussion wrong. Discussion. I'll have this up for when I'm talking spoilers about a movie. There we go. So when we get to the spoiler section, you guys, I can, like, I'll pop this off and on. And be like, oh, look, guys, spoilers, woo. We're not talking spoilers now, but just in case you guys want to, mute stream or whatever. In any case, I'll give my non-spoiler talk about it first, and then I'll delve into spoilers. So, Sleepaway Camp, if you aren't aware of what it is, it's a film from, I believe, 1983, and it involves two kids, Ricky and Angela, as they go off to summer camp. Angela's for the first time. Ricky's been around the block a few times with summer camp. They go to Camp Arawak. Angela has recently been through a tragedy in her life and is now struggling, even after like 8 years after it happens, to fit in. A lot of the kids bully her, a lot of the kids don't treat her correctly, and her cousin Ricky sticks up for her, bless his soul. But in any case, misfortunes happen. It's like a slasher movie. I guess that's the most I can say about it. It's a slasher movie. It's reminiscent of movies like Halloween, Friday the 13th, a little bit dreamlike and kind of like Nightmare on Elm Street, but not too similar. You know, like of the time and period it came out in. And also, it's the director's first movie ever. This movie was the director's first movie, and then they fell off the face of the planet for a while, and then came back years later to do a sequel. Even though there were already sequels to this movie. Anyway. Uh-oh. Oh, that scared me for a second. I looked at the fucking preview, and it was, like, buffering, and I was like, ruh-roh, raggy. Anyway. That's the non-spoiler review. What did I give it on Letterboxd? I gave it a 3. I'll talk about it. I'm very conflicted about it. I'm very conflicted about this movie. Never heard of this movie, but I do love a good slasher. Oh dear. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, I'm gonna pop up the spoiler discussion now. Because I think it's important. I need to discuss why it is that this movie is controversial. Is because of its depiction of a trans character. So, and it hinges on the whole movie. So, this is a movie I am not gonna recommend to the average horror movie audience. Because there's only so much that, like, you can handle before you're like, okay, this fucking sucks. Especially because it is transphobic. So, how am I gonna talk about this? I guess I'll just spoil the ending because I don't recommend this movie. Watching it myself, I was very uncomfortable watching the ending of it, so, like, okay, so the whole movie, there's a whole bunch of people dying in camp, right? Because it's a slasher. And, the camp director catches wind that there's a bunch of people dying in camp, and because he doesn't want the reputation of his camp to go down by any means and lose any campers, and, so he believes that the person who's actively committing these murders is Ricky, Angela's cousin. But in actuality, the person who's committing the murders is Angela. And the way that this is found out is after, like 6 murders occur 6 murders occur at the same night. And it's the camp director, one of the camp counselors. There's another character that dies. Oh, Angela's love interest. We'll talk about that in a second. And then 4 children that were out on a camping trip. And so the police are called, and the camp counselors are brought together, and they're like, okay, there's a bunch of people that are dead. There's clearly a killer on the loose. We need to get the campers together and put them in a cabin. Is there anybody that you can think of that might be unaccounted for? And they name off, like, 4 of the campers. And 2 of the campers are Ricky and Angela. Ricky was nearly beaten to death by the camp... the camp owner. And so he's left about bleeding in the fucking middle of the woods. Angela's just MIA. And so all the counselors go to look for the other 2 that are missing, which are Paul and Julie. And oh, Julie. It's 7 people that died. My bad. 7 person. I keep forgetting about Julie. Fuck Julie. She sucks. But they all go looking for the campers. They find Ricky, but then they go look for Angela, and they spot her out on the beach where she was going to go with Paul, except she's naked and she's cradling Paul's head in her lap. Turns out it's very literal because she decapitated Paul. And what happens is there's this... Good lord. It's so bad. There's this dramatic sequence that shows... Excuse me. Dramatic sequence where it shows her getting up, covered in blood, the head falls off, and she stands up, and of course she's naked, and she's holding a knife, and her like, mouth is agape, and she's, like, hissing and growling according to the Wikipedia page, but it more so sounds like she lost her voice to me. And the thing is she's biologically, quote-unquote, biologically a boy. So, of course, when they show her naked, you can figure what it shows just by me saying that. So, it's just Angela standing there naked with a knife covered in blood. And the counselors are like, oh my god, she's not actually a girl. She's a boy. And then it ends. Her face, like, it cuts to green. They, like, green her face. It's like a photo negative of her face, but green. And then the credits just roll. And the thing is, too, before they do that reveal, there's this really weird forced flashback sequence. Because, to give you a little bit of context, Angela is the survivor of a boating accident where her dad and her brother died. And she survived. But the kicker is she went to go live with her aunt, and her aunt didn't want her to... She didn't want a boy living in her house. So... she forcefully transitioned Angela to be a girl and named her after her dead sister. I'm also gonna gender her as a girl because, like, I feel uncomfortable dead naming her and calling her a girl, like a boy. Oh, well, that fucking sucks, yeah. Yeah, because, oh my god. That's why I said I don't recommend this movie to the average horror audience, because if you saw that unprompted, you would be like, what the fuck? Especially if you are trans watching that unprepared. You'd be like, what the fuck? I mean, I knew what was coming ahead, so I was prepared for it, but I was still like, what the fuck? The whole time. Because, like, this was the era of trans women being treated like men in dresses still. I think Silence of the Lambs didn't come out until, like, well, even still, like, Silence of the Lambs, like, it was a breakthrough in terms of talking about trans people, but not really, but you know what I mean. But, oh my god. I'm still thinking about it, because the thing also with Angela's existence, right, is she's played by a cis child. The actress who plays her is a cis child, a cis girl, and when they get to that shot of her naked, it's someone who's wearing her face, like a mask of her face, and is like, I keep saying biologically, my apologies, but is a man wearing a mask of this actor's face. It is insane. The whole movie. This person is trans. Isn't that fucked up? Aren't you scared? Is an unfortunate trope I have noticed in horror. Yep. Yep. It's got a long history. I just like Silence of the Lambs for this reason. Yeah. I watched Silence of the Lambs a while ago. I don't really remember too much of it, but I know I didn't really care for it. Not even because of that plot sequence, which I also don't like, but also just because I was bored. That movie bores me a little bit. But in any case, there's also this, okay, there's so many layers to this shit, because look, first of all, I love Angela. She's a cool, interesting character that you're sympathetic to, so the reveal at the end is really weird, because she's bullied this whole time at camp, because people just think she's weird for not talking for some reason, and incessantly bully her, reignite her trauma by throwing her in the water, even though she has water-based trauma. Also, everyone at camp deserved to be killed by Angela. You know what? That's totally fair, and I support her. But, there's this insane portion of it. There's just this really weird portion of it, where Angela has her love interest, his name is Paul, and he tries to initiate sex with her, but she's very uncomfortable with it. And then there's this portion, a flashback that shows Angela and her sister peeping in on her dad, who was with another man, so he's gay, and they're giggling at him, and then it just cuts to her, like, trying to point at her sister, and then it cuts back, and then she pushes him off, and is like, no, I don't want to do this, and runs off, and then he's like, what the fuck, you're such a fucking prude, or whatever. So, I looked into that further, because I was like, what was the purpose of that? Why was that sequence just randomly shoehorned in there? Because it made no sense to me on a first watch. So I looked it up on the Wikipedia page. From my understanding of it, she saw that and, like, became homophobic. And the only reason I can... because it's linked to this moment, right? So here's where my fucking logical brain went with that whole portion. What I did was of course, I know the history of, like, somewhat the history of, like, how trans women have been depicted in horror media, especially for, like, years and years and years. And especially with, like, when it pertains to Psycho and the logic that followed because of that movie, which is, like, the male body and the woman mind. Which is just not how trans people work, by the way. That is just really fucking weird and transphobic. So, like, still follow me here, but, like, understand that that is in very transphobic logic. So, what Psycho did was basically popularize, as a result, that a trans woman who is, say, attracted to another woman, the man body is reacting to the woman, but the woman mind sees it as competition and thus ends up killing the woman. Transphobic as fuck. And also lesbophobic, because, like, what the fuck? It's dumb. So with this logic and the framing of this one moment with Angela and the weird flashback we get with her seeing her father with another man, what logic that I could ascertain from it is that she does not view herself as a girl, still sees herself as a boy, and so being with another boy reminds her of her father being with another man, and so she rejects it. Because she's not a girl, in her mind. She's still a boy. And that's gay. And she's like, no, I don't want to be gay. Which is... There's so many fucking layers to that, and it just boggles my mind. Especially because she's fine a little bit later, and then she ends up killing Paul, which is fair, because Paul deserved it for pressuring her, and then calling her a prude, and trying to weasel his way back into her good graces like the shit he is. Angela, at the end of the day, is just deserving of everything, because I love her to bits and pieces. I just like Psycho for this reason as well. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Hitchcock in the first place. That guy is... He tortured a woman for years, who was the star of many of his films, especially like The Birds. Star of his film for years, and he like actively fucking tortured her, and nobody talks about that for some reason. Everyone likes to gloat about the fact that he includes queer people in his movies and likes to have queer subjects in them, but like nobody talks about the fact that he actively hated women and was torturing one of his actresses for fucking years. Excuse me. That poor woman has so much psychological trauma, my apologies, Jesus. I don't blame her for, like, speaking out about it later, but I just hate that nobody talks about that. But in any instance. So, Sleepaway Camp, I hate the transphobia in it. It's fucking awful. There's no need for it to be randomly the twist. We could have very well still revealed that Angela was the killer, but, like, you know, we could have just revealed that she was killing them because they were bullying her. Because that is just as valid of a reason. Or even were, like, trying to rape her because there was a pedophilic cook that she killed. Which is very, well, not killed, like, burnt to a crisp, but, like, still, like, deserved it. I've never seen a Hitchcock film that I liked. That is so utterly fair. Completely and utterly fair. I never liked many of his films either. The closest I got was Rope, but even then that's still like, eh. But yeah, I have like conflicting feelings about Sleepaway Camp because I think parts of it are interesting, and there's like a plot in there that could be good if it were put in the hands of the right person, but it ultimately is boggled down because of this random homophobia and transphobia as the crux of its horror. Like a trans woman's body is like a trans girl, not even a woman, a trans girl, a child who is trans is the horror of this movie, is the reason that people are freaked out by it, and that's disgusting. Transphobia has ruined many otherwise alright films. Yeah. I mean, there's one, like, funny line in the movie that's, like, there's, like, a baseball game going on between these boys that goes on way too long. And, one of the guys gets mad at Ricky, and he's like, eat shit and die, Ricky. And then Ricky, bounces back and says, eat shit and live, Bill. Which is, like, so good, and it's going into my lexicon immediately. But, like, otherwise, hey, listen. The movie is just, like, on that, like, it's not, it's like, it's, yeah, it's problematic, it's very problematic, but honestly, if I ever got the rights to Sleepaway Camp, I would fix all this shit, and because I think there's a compelling plot here. Like, if you just get rid of the horror of this being, like, ooh, trans women scary, or trans girls scary, you could have a compelling narrative about a trans girl who's being bullied and gets vengeance on the people with her cousin because, like, it's blurring the lines between, like, who's doing it, her or her cousin. They could tag team it up and be, like, killing the people who are torturing her and or her cousin. And they just don't know who it is. And you know what? They could burn the camp at the end and then live happily ever after. I'm just saying, I could write this. Somebody give me the rights. Actually, I don't know how to make a movie, but still, I could write a very compelling screenplay. In any case, that's Sleepaway Camp. We're done with talking about spoilers. Do not recommend this movie to, like, the general horror audience. If you are still intrigued by the movie and want to check it out by yourself, go into it with this in mind, please, and watch it if you want to. I'm not forcing you to. It's only if your morbid curiosity is pulling you forward. So, yeah. That's that one. So, that was the first movie that I watched. The next day... oh my god. So, this one, I heard about for a while. And I was kind of, like, debating it because of how ridiculous of a name it had. But I was like, fuck it, and I bit the bullet and I watched it, and then it ended up being the weirdest movie I've ever seen in my life, and it was, it was Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker. This might be a bit of a trauma dump. When I was a kid, I basically learned about trans people from the trans women scary trope, and I think I would have come out to myself earlier if it was different. Oh, that's totally fair. That is completely and utterly fair. I didn't know about the, like, demonizing trans people trope until, like, years later. Like, years and years and years later. I didn't learn about that until I was probably, like, in my 20s. Maybe even, like, 18, 19. But, like, it sucks. It still happens, but it's, like, getting better. Because, like, trans people are finally making movies about and with trans people. And, like, it's getting better on that front, but it's still not perfect. Because there are still cis people playing trans roles. For some fucking reason. Anyway, Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker. I need to talk about this fucking movie because it is so ridiculous. I've talked about most, if not all, of these movies to my girlfriend, by the way. Except for the few that I watched the past couple of days. This one... first of all, this movie is, it was renamed. It was originally called Night Warning. I thought it was called Night Watch. Night Warning. But then it got renamed to... then it got renamed to Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, and I don't know why. Because every time I hear the name of this movie, I just want to say Butcher Baker Candlestick Maker instead. It's so dumb. Anyway, that poster is wild, lol. Yeah, I know. I love the poster, but boy, this movie was something else, man. So I'll give my non-spoiler discussion of it for a moment, and then I'll get into spoilers of it. So this is a movie about, what is the main character's name? First of all, it's from 1981. I'm in an 80s spree, so it seems like 80s, 90s, 70s spree. It stars a guy, what is his name? He's like 17. What is your name? I can't remember what your name is. Uh-oh. Hold on. I'm trying to find the main character's name because it makes it easier if I just say his name, but it keeps just saying an orphaned teenager. Billy. His name is Billy. At least I think his name is Billy. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Any of you who know. So Billy, main character, 17 years old. He's on the basketball team. And his parents unfortunately died in a car accident. So he's been in the care of his aunt for quite a number of years. Good lord, I went back-to-back movies with characters who are orphaned and living with their aunts on accident. Oops, I didn't mean for this to be a double feature. So he's been living with his aunt for a while, but he kind of wants his own independence, and so he's given this offer by his basketball coach that there's going to be a recruiter for a college that is offering scholarships, and so he wants to make an impression, but his aunt doesn't want that. He wants his a chance to get out of the house, and she wants him to stay home, of course, because she's a little bit clingy. So hijinks ensue. a murder takes place, and Billy is put in the fucking crosshairs for it, even though he had no involvement in it. And so him, his aunt, and his girlfriend are all scrutinized, and it is wild. I'm taking the gum out of my mouth for this one. I can't even talk much about this movie outside of the spoilers because it is wild just how this movie in its existence. I have, the whole time I was watching it, I was cringing. I was like, just the whole time. Hang on, I'm grabbing my water. Sorry. Yeah, so I was cringing the whole time. I also would not recommend this movie to the average horror audience because, yes, it is a slasher, but it is not for the faint of heart. So, with that, let's get into spoilers. I'll put it over their faces so you can see it a little better. Here, I'll make it a little smaller. There we go. Oh. There we go. Alright. This movie is bonkers. The aunt is incredibly clingy of Billy, so much to the point where she will actively sabotage every part of his life to make sure he doesn't leave. From, like, ruining his chances at a scholarship to almost killing his girlfriend to, implicating herself in a murder, even though she claims rape the whole time, which just didn't happen. Yeah, the aunt murders somebody, which is like the whole, what actually kicks off the plot. So she murders a TV repair guy because she tried to come on to him to foot the bill so that she didn't have to pay anything. And he rebuffed her advances, reasonably so, and she got pissed about that and took out a knife and killed him. And she claimed rape the whole time, even though that is not at all what happened. Excuse me, a detective. Boy howdy, that detective. What do I have to say? There is so much bigotry in this movie that is just instigated solely by the detective in this movie. Because this guy is not only homophobic, wildly so to the point where he implicates Billy. He thinks Billy is the one that caused this murder because he is in a lover's quarrel with the TV repair guy. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, that scared me. Not only does he think that why? YouTube, please respond to me. Stop doing that. Anyway. Please don't misgender me. I use they, them. I'm not breaking. It's YouTube being silly, but please don't misgender me. My pronouns are on my YouTube actively. Do I have to put a fucking button on me all the time because everyone thinks I use she, her? Good lord. Anyway. YouTube doesn't want me to talk about the homophobia. Anyway. Not only does this detective just actively use random slurs and think Billy has had a lover's quarrel with the TV repair guy and hit it by backing up his aunt's story, he hates sex workers, calls them whores, also is racist as fuck. This guy hates immigrants. He literally targeted an immigrant man. 80s horror, don't be so bigoted challenge, impossible. Exactly. Well, knocked my microphone over in pure rage. He points a gun to this man who's clearly an immigrant from Mexico or another Spanish-speaking country and speaks to him in broken Spanish and tries to ask him where his house is, but like outside the US, because this man, like, he's probably living within the US as an immigrant. But, like, he's just like, where is your house? No, your house in Mexico. And it's like, what? It has him he has him unlawfully chained in his office, too. God, this man just sucks. And, like, one of the police officers is trying to actually solve the case of what's going on. But, you know, keeps trying to run it by the detective, and the detective's like, yeah, actually, I don't fucking like you. Shut the fuck up. Horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But yeah, God, that I hate. Oh, not even, also, oh my God, this one sequence actually just pissed me the fuck off. The detective goes to interrogate Billy's girlfriend. Sweet as can be. Probably my favorite character in the whole movie. I love her to bits and pieces. And her dresses were incredible. Had a really good sense of fashion that she did. Also, just a good girlfriend to Billy. Best character. Best girl. She should have been the final girl. Anyway, the detective goes to interrogate the girlfriend. And the fucking, like, second thing he asks her is like, so, you and Billy are kind of close, aren't you? Would you say you're close enough to be intimate with one another? Have you and Billy made it yet? Which, by the way, if you don't know what that means, basically, when someone says, have you made it with another person, it basically just means, have you fucked them? There's a lot of coded language back in that days because of censors. Yet you could say the F slur all you want. And a bunch of other horrible slurs as well. God, I hate that detective. He said so many fucking slurs. But yeah. And she's like, excuse me? By the way, when the detective asks that, rightfully so, and she's like, I am not going to answer that question. And she doesn't. And she tells Billy, too. And Billy even asks her, what'd you say to them? And she said, it's none of his fucking business. And he's like, that's right. Honestly, like, that is such, like, a weird question to ask somebody. Also, she's a minor. First of all, he took her outside to talk with her privately, which is illegal. She needs to have an adult with her when she's being interrogated because she's underage. Especially because, like, she has nothing to do with anything except for her relation to Billy. And the only thing that he was even asking her about is if he was gay or not. Which, like, who fucking cares? That's what I said the whole time. I was like, because of the fucking detective, he just cared so much about Billy being gay. I was just like, who fucking cares? But the most interesting part is how it treated the actual gay characters that were in this movie. Because there are gay characters. And honestly, I was taken aback because I thought that it'd be one of those movies where Billy is actually gay and his girlfriend is just a front, and it would be revealed at some point that he actually is gay. But that is not the case. Billy is straight as hell, and he has a girlfriend that he loves very much, who also loves him. But like, what was I already forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, but there is actual gay characters. So the TV repair guy is gay, and his partner was the basketball coach, the one who told Billy about the scholarship that he might be able to apply for if the scouter came by. Those two had a set of matching rings that the detective found and presented to him, and immediately was bigoted about it and caused him to quit his job because he was afraid of being killed for being gay. Which sucks because he likes being a coach. And he had to leave his job because of a fucking homophobic piece of shit. But by the end of the movie, the coach shows up again to help Billy. And Billy is this guy's #1 fucking ally. Because the entire time that the detective is trying to get something out of Billy about him being gay, or even talking to him about his coach and implicating that those two might be involved in some way, or even his classmates gay bashing him and the coach, he sticks up for the coach. He's like, guys, just leave it be. Who cares? Which is mind-boggling to me personally, because of how many movies I have seen from this time period that would have had a character like Billy bashing actively with the people around him, and joining in on it, but being like, oh, I'm not gay, the coach is gay, fuck that guy, you know? But instead he's just sticking up for him, which is great. He cares about him, and he sees him as a role model. Probably because his aunt is a piece of shit. Like, I'm not gonna spoil the biggest reveal of the movie, of course. Because I think you guys should, if you want to experience this movie, then I will not take that away from you. But I do not I do not recommend this movie to the average horror movie enjoyer. But yeah, that was a little bit of a breath of fresh air. But then, now we have to talk about the aunt. Because the aunt, oh my god, the aunt. First of all, the actress who played her did a fantastic job of making me uncomfortable the whole fucking time. I was just cringing watching this movie. And it was all because of her, so kudos to her. But, like, oh my god, this woman loves her nephew so much. Does not want him to go anywhere. Her husband, her boyfriend, who was going to leave her, she killed. And now she's like, well, if you're gonna leave me, then I guess you're not gonna leave me on my watch. Spikes his milk, which Billy just actively drinks so much milk in this movie. Good lord. Surprised he doesn't have lactose intolerance. Spikes his milk with some kind of like sleeping drug or like a nerve number or something. I don't know what she puts in his milk. It's like a little thing in an eyedropper that she has in the fridge, and it confuses me. Oh, cuts the phone line so he can't call for help. Well, almost cuts the phone line. Does she cut the phone? No, she doesn't cut the phone line. She tries to take the phone out of his hand, though. Tries to kill his girlfriend. Kills her neighbor friend. Then, like, the grossest part of it is, like, she treats him like a baby, first of all, even though he's, like, 17 going on 18. And then, when she's trying to choke him out with the phone cord, she, like, kisses him on the lips. It is nasty. Blah. Oh my god, I saw that portion, I had to pause for like 5 minutes to recuperate after that. I was like, oh my god. It is nasty, but like, kudos to that actress for doing a good job of making me really uncomfortable. Oh my god. But yeah, and the movie just ends so abruptly too, with just like a scroll of text being like a "where are they now" afterward, and that's it. That's how the movie ends. And cut to credits. So, yeah, Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker is the thing of nightmares. Will I ever watch this movie again? I almost said write this movie again. It's like, what? No. Will I ever watch this movie again? No. No, I am never watching this movie again. Same thing with, like, Sleepaway Camp. I'm probably never watching either of these movies ever again. But I did it the one time to say that I could. That I could watch it. That I had the capacity to. What did I give this on, I gave it a 3.5. So I gave it a little bit more than Sleepaway Camp, which is impressive. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, that's Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. How do you classify the average horror movie enjoyer? Because I'd consider myself that, but also I don't know. I would say the average horror movie enjoyer are the people who watch more of the mainstream horror films that are coming out, like Midsommar, or anything by Ari Aster, really. Or Longlegs, which recently came out. Like, stuff that is coming out in theaters that is gaining popularity. You know, you're like the Shining enjoyer, or maybe you're a slasher enjoyer. Somebody who's enjoying horror movies that are not so much like underground, not well known by the public, but someone who's like on the very, very top level when it comes to horror movies. Me, I would not classify myself as the average horror enjoyer. I like watching obscure horror movies, obviously, because I like finding movies that I can explain to people and they'd be like, what? And they're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're just like so confused by what it is I'm describing, and also probably terrified because like a lot of the stuff I watch is probably not for the average person. Also, people who don't enjoy gore. There are so many movies that I watched this week that have gore in them, like Gallo films, I think they're called, or Gallo films. I say Gallo because, like, Spanish, the two L's put together, since, like, you know, makes a Y noise. But, like, gore people, because, like, I'm a psychological horror enjoyer until the day I die, but maybe occasionally I'll watch something that's a slasher. But in any case, just people who enjoy, like, basic tier horror films. But maybe this list will either expose you to movies that you have never heard of before that might interest you, or movies that you'll want to stay away from. Which I don't blame you if that is the case. We're gonna move into something a little less extreme now. Oops, this is not what I wanted to do. Actually, I wanted to do this. We're gonna move into something that is not extreme, that is still slightly unnerving, but is not as, like, intense as the last two, thankfully. So this one might appeal to the average horror person, unless you're terrified of ghosts. In which case, oops, then this one might not be for you. Let me get this set up. Most alarming movie I've ever seen is Martyrs, the French version. I don't know if that's vanilla. That's like, if you're like a vanilla horror enjoyer, then that's on the more extreme end. I'd say the most extreme horror movies you could watch are like Gallo films, or something like Salo, or 120 Days of Sodom, or maybe a Serbian film, like all those films that are on the way, way, way out there. That's like extreme horror. Those are the people that are like, I'm not at that level, obviously. I could never watch Salo or a Serbian film. But, you know, like, that's the way far end. That's like, you got like your vanilla horror enjoyers on one end and then the extreme horror on the other end. I'm somewhere in the middle, where I'm like an obscure horror enjoyer, but also I watch occasionally some modern horror films. I've seen Talk to Me, which was okay. I don't like modern horror films, really. So, I like the older stuff. Anyway, let's talk about Lake Mungo. I love this poster, by the way. Probably my favorite movie poster out of all the movies we've talked about so far. Camp, like Sleepaway Camps is okay. If I had to rank it, though, it'd be like Lake Mungo, Sleepaway Camp, and then Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker. But, anyways, Lake Mungo is probably the most accessible horror film that I'm gonna talk about today, unless, like, yeah, this is the most accessible one, I think. I've seen this one. Then you know what I'm gonna talk about then. For those of you who don't know, don't worry, I'll give you guys the non-spoiler description of this, and then I'll get into spoilers, because, oh my god, I want to talk about this movie, because, like, I remember liking it quite a bit. I want to talk about this one because, like, I need to talk about something important with this movie that only certain people will understand. But right, so this is a mockumentary movie about the Palmer family after they experienced a tragedy in losing their daughter, Alice Palmer. And it basically goes through the timeline. She died in like 2005, like a day or so before Christmas. I'm not interested in Cabin in the Woods, by the way. I know it's a horror comedy. I don't like horror comedies so much. Brain. Right. So it goes out, it lays out all of the footage, pictures, evidence about this haunting that's occurring by Alice, or potential haunting of Alice, and their family is trying to actively figure out why it is that Alice might be haunting them. And if I didn't tell you this was a mockumentary, you guys might believe that this is a very real documentary that came out in 2008. This movie came out in 2008, by the way, and it's the director's only movie. He has not made another movie since. That is bonkers. But also, good on him for making a hit movie and then never making another one after that. But yeah, that's the non-spoiler description of this movie. Okay, look, this was my second time trying to watch this movie, because the first time my girlfriend and I tried to watch it and we both were falling asleep while watching it. So we figured, oh, it's a late night, you know, we're tired, we'll try to give this another shot another time. And that was like a year almost ago now. Maybe sooner, maybe later. But, we never got back to it, so I took it upon myself, because it's on Tubi for free, my best friend Tubi. I've tried to pick it up myself and watch it, and I started falling asleep through this again too. This movie has a weird effect on me where it tries to put me to sleep, but I liked it. It's very quiet in a lot of parts, and I guess that's also why it was putting me to sleep. But, also it's Australian, just so you guys are aware. This is an Australian movie. Yeah, but yeah, you guys might believe it's a documentary if I didn't tell you it was a mockumentary. Because it's filmed so well, like it looks like a documentary. It feels like a documentary, especially one that came out in that time period it came out in. It is so well done. There are a lot of, like, issues with it in terms of, like, time fuckery and timeline issues, and there's some stuff that was, like, doesn't make much sense, but overall, I would say it is a good movie to watch, especially, you know what, this would be a good movie for you to get into as, like, a first horror movie, I think, because there's not too many scares in it. There's some unsettling imagery, of course, and Alice's body that's shown after she's pulled out of the lake that she drowned in, and other subsequent moments when Alice is shown. But otherwise, I think this is a good starter horror film. Personally, I think you guys would like it. If you haven't seen horror films before, this would be a good one to start with. I remember it didn't scare me as much as it bummed me out. It was sad. It was sad. And you know what? That brings me on to our spoiler discussion. Uh-oh, I can't... There we go. Wanted to make the text a little bit bigger. Alright, so let's talk spoilers for a moment, because, like, oh my god. Okay, there's a lot of it I don't remember because I was really tired watching this movie, and I was falling asleep actively while watching it. As I said, this is the movie that I just actively... fall asleep to for some reason. I don't know why. But this movie is, like, it's a bit unnerving in some instances, but this movie is very sad. But the thing that I like the most about it, the one jump scare in it is really good. Oh yeah, there is, like, one jump scare in it, but that's, like, toward the end. The one thing that I want to discuss with it is the just... Please forgive me for a moment for nerding out a little bit, but Twin Peaks. This movie is paying homage in a lot of aspects to Twin Peaks. And it is very evident from the fact that the family's last name is Palmer to the one daughter in the family dying and appearing in a body of water, whether it actively she was in the water when she died or was by the water when her body was discovered, and the fact that she haunts the narrative. Whether it be literally or figuratively, of course, in the case of like Laura versus Alice. Of course, there's a lot of major differences in that the Palmer family in Twin Peaks don't have a brother. It's just Leland and Sarah. And then the Palmer family in Mungo have a brother. His name is Matthew, I think. But yeah, there was like, listen, I'm Twin Peaks brained. I can sniff out when there is an homage or even a reference to Twin Peaks in a lot of instances, and this is like the biggest homage to Twin Peaks I have seen yet. And I do think I noticed it the first time around when I watched this, but I didn't really take it to heart because that was before I did my Twin Peaks rewatch, and now that I've done my Twin Peaks rewatch up to the point where Laura's killer is discovered, I won't spoil Twin Peaks for you guys majorly because, like, I love Twin Peaks. For as problematic as it is, of course, I love Twin Peaks. But, like, come on. I just, like, there's so many connections to Laura Palmer, it drives me insane. Except, like, Alice obviously isn't having this, like, immense spiral where she's, where there's internal strife within her family that's coming from someone in her family. Whereas Laura is, and she is struggling by coping in unhealthy ways through, like, drug usage and alcohol and underage sex work and just tearing herself apart, essentially. Alice, on the other hand, is, like, the opposite. She's, like, not so much tearing herself apart so much as she's silently, internally grasping with it, I guess. But Alice she's such a tragic character because she was very much, man, how do I describe this? I'm trying to grasp it at the same time I'm trying to describe it because, like, Alice in herself, existing as a character, is so sad. She was cut off so young. Hello, there's my girlfriend, she made it. I'm talking about Lake Mungo. That movie that we tried to watch, but we were falling asleep through it and couldn't pay attention to it because we were talking over the whole time. My girlfriend doesn't like Lake Mungo. She thought it was boring. Which is fair. This movie's not for everybody, but... Right, Alice. It's a lot of people talk about Alice's existence and her death being one of, like, she is severely depressed and struggles with her existence and potentially doesn't want to live anymore, and that her act of dying in what she sees at the end of the movie is like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. She knew she was gonna die, but she took it into her own hands instead of letting fate take it for her, I guess. See, she agrees. She doesn't like it. From what I've heard, there's a lot of different interpretations of how Alice's character is meant to be. Also, Lake Mungo is a very real lake in Australia, by the way. It wasn't made up for the movie. It's real. I looked it up. Like, there's also a really popular theory with Alice's death stating that she was murdered by her brother. That her brother has something to do with her death because of the discussions of, like, her waking up one night and feeling she was drugged and that she went to her parents and she couldn't say anything even though she knew something was wrong. The ghost trying to pass a message to her parents but being, like, hostile is like a reflection or a message trying to get to her parents, telling her, pointing them into the direction of her brother faking evidence that she was haunting the house, which eventually led to the neighbors getting implicated in a statutory rape problem, so... Excuse me, drinking water. Stay hydrated, folks. But I don't know if I necessarily subscribe to the theory that her brother killed her, because I think that takes away from Alice as a character and the way that her family treats her death and doesn't actually get... They have their own form of catharsis, but they don't actually... like, understand their daughter anymore. They just kind of are, like, pushing for this one outcome and are, like, wiping their hands clean, being like, actually, there we go. We solved it, and now she's at rest. And really, she's not. She's still there. And will be there now. Like, the family moved and everything, too, at the end of the movie, and so they just left her behind. And it's very tragic. Like, this girl was, just completely, like, brushed aside. Also very Twin Peaks-esque in that the town is, not as it seems. There's a lot of bad things going on in the town, and its underbelly, but on its face it appears to be sunshiny and rainbows. I also spotted some similarities between the psychic, I can't remember his name, and, like, Dr. Jacoby, who's the therapist slash psychiatrist slash whatever title he holds, psychologist? He's the guy that treats everybody mentally in Twin Peaks, and how he worked with Laura, because it is revealed in the movie that the psychic saw Alice before she died, and did the same exercise, the same mental exercise that he would eventually do with Alice's mom. And they had near identical experiences that link with one another, where Alice sees her mom, but her mom doesn't see her, and she can't reach out to her mom. It's tragic. But there is a difference, though, at least, because, like, the doctor, the psychiatrist, god damn it, the psychic, god, I can't say words. The psychic isn't mistreating Alice, from my own understanding. He just kind of kept it secret from everyone in the Palmer family that he saw her for patient confidentiality, even though that's not how that works. He's not a licensed professional. He can't do that. But Dr. Jacoby can, and that's what he did with Laura, and he's a weirdo. I do not like Dr. Jacoby. He is so weird. I don't think a lot of people point that out when they're talking about the similarities between Twin Peaks and Lake Mungo. I don't know, actually. People might have, and I just might be self-aggrandizing. I don't know. I might just be making that up, but I noticed it, and I thought it was interesting. I was like, oh, hey, that's this thing. But in any case, I liked Lake Mungo. I think it's a pretty solid mockumentary, and it's still pretty cool that the director never made another movie after this one, and he just disappeared off the face of the planet. I gave it a 4 on Letterboxd. So that was Lake Mungo. I think that's all I have to talk about. So let's talk about the next movie I watched, which I watched with my girlfriend, and we both were like, what the fuck, by the end of it. I don't know if I should keep the poster up for this one, but I will give you guys a quick warning. Those of you who are squeamish to spiders, it's not an actual spider, but it looks spider-like. So I'm gonna give you guys a heads up about that one real quick when bringing up the poster for this one. I'm gonna pop this screen on in 3, 2, 1. The next movie that I watched alongside my lovely girlfriend was Possum from 2018. We bumped up 10 years. We're going forward in time. This is the only modern horror movie other than Lake Mungo that I watched. Actually, I lied. I thought I watched a lot of older horror movies. I forgot this one that was in 2018. I thought this movie was from like 2006 from the way it was shot. I was very wrong. It was in fact shot in 2018, or like released at least in 2018. Yeah. Hold on, I just got news that there's another Monster Prom movie coming out, or game coming out soon. I need it. Listen, I have all the Monster Prom games. I need it. I just got so distracted by that. I need it. I love Monster Prom. It's such a good game series. Anyway, sorry. I've also seen this one. Oh, well, we're getting into familiar territory then, at least for moderator Leah. Alright, Possum. Let me see if I can describe this in a non-spoilery way first, and then we can talk about it in spoilery terms. But, oh man, what do I say about this one? This is a British horror movie. This is the only British one that I watched. All the other ones, other than Sleepaway Camp and Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, are all non-American, I believe. Right? Yes. Okay. So, alright, how do I describe this one? Possum is about a man, his name is Philip, I believe, who has this, like, leather suitcase bag that he carries that has a puppet in it, and he is, like, a failed puppeteer, and he's trying to get rid of the puppet. That's it. That's all I can give in terms of a spoiler-free plot description, because this movie goes all over the place. I did not like this one, really. I've heard interesting things about it for a while, and I really wanted to watch it, and I was originally going to watch it by myself, but my girlfriend was lonely and wanted to call, and so I was like, hey, we could watch a movie together, and she was like, sure, and I gave her, like, a little list of the movies that I had on Shudder that I was gonna watch, and I was like, okay, pick the movie that I should watch tonight, and she picked Possum, because she was interested in it, and so we both watched this one together, and we both were like, what the fuck is going on the whole time? We had no clue what was happening, why it was happening, and what the point was. It's very non-linear. It's very all over the place and scrambled. Very low budget for this movie. They only used like 3, 4 maybe locations the whole time. But it was creative in a lot of its visuals that it used. I liked the drawings. I was like, why is it called Possum when it's Spooter? Yeah, that's the whole crux of it. Yeah, she was very confused why it was called Possum. But yeah, I guess we can get into spoilers now for this one, because there's not much that I can say about it. This movie is so confusing. I am still thinking about it. I thought it was cool. That's totally fair. I'm not the biggest fan of it, mostly because I thought it was confusing. I knew from the jump that this movie was a movie about trauma. Or at least like an exploration of trauma. I knew it wasn't going to be plot heavy, just based on the description that I saw. Excuse me. On Letterboxd. And also on Shudder. I was just like, okay, this isn't going to be a very big plot heavy movie. It's just going to be a character exploration, which I'm fine with. I like character exploration movies. Sorry, I get distracted by chat and I'm just like losing my train of thought. But the way that it explores trauma in this movie feels very incomplete, because it's so scattered in its sprinkling of the story throughout, which I appreciate it not holding my hand throughout. I appreciate when movies do that, because I like to solve things myself, and it doesn't make me feel like an idiot by doing that. But I feel like it was just incomplete in trying to accomplish what it was setting out to do, which is, I guess, probably a problem with the fact that it had such a low budget when developing it. But, like, the visual aspects of it, like the ink pouring down from the sky and covering him, and the picture of, I assume, his parents, and him freaking out about it. The puppet itself is terrifying. My girlfriend thought that the puppet's face was the guy's face, was Philip's face the whole time, and that it was, like, modeled after him, and it is not. It is not. But I don't blame her for thinking that it is. It kind of looks similar, but not completely. It just, there's a lot of differences, of course. Philip's uncle, quote unquote, we don't actually know what relation this guy is to Philip, because I'm getting a lot of mixed things, because we watched this on Tubi. Some descriptions say it's his uncle, some say it's his stepdad. I don't know what relation this man is to Philip, but I'm just gonna call him his uncle for the meantime. I was very confused. The ending made me and my girlfriend laugh so hard when the little boy came out of the trunk. Just popped out of the trunk. We rewound it to just like, because we were like, what? What? Huh? He was in the trunk the whole time. Oops, I bonked my water bottle on my desk. Sorry. Just in the trunk the whole time. So we were just like, so wait, the uncle kidnapped him then? But for what reason? Why did he kidnap that little boy? I don't know what that purpose is. Is he a pervert? Is he not even a pervert? Is he a pedophile? Is he a sex pest? Why did he kidnap this young boy? The world may never know. It was interesting. There's also just a lot of shots of just silence, with the soundtrack behind it, of course, in a few instances, in some instances not. But I feel like a lot of those shots could be like shortened to like cut the runtime back a little bit, because this movie felt like it went on forever. Just very confusing. Just so confusing. Because, like, the timeline of it is there was a fire that killed his parents and also could have killed his uncle but didn't, and it didn't kill him. There was his school, something about his school. God, I'm forgetting this film by the second, and it's just, like, probably because I just was struggling with it, and I keep repeating that. But, yeah, if anybody has, like, a better idea of what the hell was going on in this movie, please let me know. Because, like, I do want to understand this movie better, but I can only do so much. So that's how I was seeing it in any case. But, yeah, that was... Admittedly, it does drag a bit, lol. Yeah, it does drag a bit. There are cool sequences in it, certainly. I do like a lot of it, in terms of, like, shot compositions and, like, tension that it builds, but the payoff could have been a little bit better. But yeah, that's Possum. Would I recommend this to the average horror audience? Maybe. It's probably one of the films that, needs a second watch. Probably. I'm admittedly one of those people that doesn't do rewatches all too often. I mean, it took me 2 years to get back to watching, like, a rewatch of The Lost Boys. Even longer to do a rewatch of, Stand By Me. So, who knows? This may take me another 4 years to get back and do a rewatch of, if I ever feel like coming back to it. But would I recommend this to the average horror audience? Maybe. A hard maybe. I gave this movie a 3 on Letterboxd. It's a maybe. If you think you can handle it, maybe. But otherwise, I don't know. Alright, let's move on to the next movie, which admittedly is the weirdest one. Hold on. This one's the weirdest one. Also the second funniest movie I watched. With the most beautiful poster, I will say. Or one of the most beautiful posters. Let me actually make sure that I need to look up something really quickly about the movie. Yeah. Okay, cool. Sick. Right. Did I do the same thing that I did last time? Or, okay, I think I saved it. We're fine. I keep wanting to, like, copy paste, but I'm like, that's not viable. This one is probably my most favorite movie poster. Gosh darn it, I keep moving it around. Okay, this one is my most favorite movie poster. Ah! There we go. And this movie that I watched is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage by Dario Argento. And if you don't know who Dario Argento is, you probably would know him through his most famous movie, Suspiria. And no, not the remake from 2018, the original one from 1978? 1978? Right? Hang on, when did Suspiria come out? Might have come out sooner than that. 77. I was close. I was very close. I said 78. 77. This is one of his earliest horror films. Whoa, that poster is crazy. I know. It's so pretty. It's the one that was on Shudder. I like it the most. All the other ones are ugly. But yeah, Dario Argento's The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. I like both Suspirias. I couldn't... So the first Suspiria I tried to watch with someone I was friends with at the time, and they got bored of it real quick, so we never finished it, which I'm sad because I did actually quite like the original Suspiria. But trying to watch the remake of Suspiria, I couldn't. I never want to go back to that one because that one made me throw up. I'm not even kidding. We were watching it, and there was a portion of it where one of the ballerinas was like bones were breaking, and it made me so sick. I was having dinner, and then I couldn't even eat my whole dinner. I just got so sick I like threw up afterward, and I never tried to watch it again because I didn't want to throw up again. So I actively avoid that one, but I know it's good. It was pretty okay. I liked Tilda Swinton in it, playing the role of a man. But yeah, I would like to try to finish the original Suspiria sometime though. But anyway, non-spoilery description of what The Bird with the Crystal Plumage is. So this movie came out in 1970. It is 7 years before Dario Argento's masterpiece Suspiria comes out and puts his name on the map, essentially. Well, I mean, his name is probably already on the map, but like it expedited his popularness, I guess. So A Bird with the Crystal Plumage, 1970. It stars this man. What was his name? He's an author. God damn it. Of course, like, every single time I try to look something up, I'm like, what was the name of this character again? I don't remember. Sam. His name was Sam. Okay, yeah. His name was Sam. So Sam, he's in Italy, and he's an author. He's doing, like, a book tour or whatever. He's up there with his girlfriend, Julia. However, just as he's about to go home, he's going home the day after next, like the day after the next one? Yeah. He ends up witnessing an altercation between a mysterious man in a coat and a woman, and ends up seeing the woman get stabbed, and so he tries to go help her, but ends up getting stuck in the in-between portion of the door. It was just such a weird mechanism for the door. So he ends up witnessing this almost murder. She doesn't die, thankfully. But he ends up getting caught up in this, like, almost murder case, where it's revealed that there is a man out there, or a person. I'll just say, I guess I'll say a man, I don't know. They keep saying a man throughout. It's a man who's out there, whose MO is to murder women. So, he ends up caught in the middle of it, and it's up to him to try to solve the case, because I don't know why on earth he tries to stick his nose into business that isn't his. This movie, look, the whole time I completely forgot that Dario Argento did Suspiria until I looked it up at, like, the very end of the movie. But this was at my first Dario Argento wherein I actually finished the movie, because, you know, I don't have a good track record with, not finishing Suspiria. But this movie was so weird. It was the weirdest movie I think I watched. And also kind of funny, but not as funny as this last movie that I'll talk about in a minute. But, oh my god. This was such a strange movie, which I guess is typical of Dario Argento. A lot of people say that his movies are weird. I also thought the whole time that this movie was dubbed over, because the fucking voice line, the delivery of the lines were terrible. I thought they were ADR'd. I thought they were recorded over. I thought they were recorded over the whole time, but no, it is just like that. I was like, what? Because I thought the actors were speaking Italian and they dubbed it over in English, because I at first didn't see their lips lining up with the lines, so I was like, oh, it's a dub. But no, it's not a dub. They are actually speaking English lines in it. It is just like that. Other than that, the plot is messy. It doesn't make sense a lot of the time. The women in this are just, well, you know how it is with a man directing a movie from the 70s and how it treats women. Very unempathetic. Really treats them like they're twigs a lot of the time, except for one woman, which I'll discuss in the spoiler aspects. It was just something. I was just also not scared the whole time. It's supposed to be like a suspense thriller, and I felt nothing. I was just like, okay. Whatever you say. Okay. And then the end of the movie happened, and I was like, what the fuck did I just watch? Why? What? Huh? It did a very, like, Psycho-esque, like, explanation from a man at the end of it to, like, explain what happened for the audience in case they didn't get what happened, which, obviously, because of how the movie is laid out, did not get it at all. So, either way, very strange movie. Now, let's talk about spoilers. Oh my god. This movie, do I recommend it to the average horror audience? No. Dario Argento movies are very hit or miss, I guess. You know, if you like Suspiria, I don't know if you'll like the bird with the crystal plumage. It really depends on if you are a hardcore Dario Argento fan. And, yeah. Alright, let's talk about this mess of a movie. There was a moment that I had a fucking heart attack. I was about to be like, oh no, 2 for 2 with movies with transphobia in them, but it kind of like subverted it a little bit. Because there's a portion in the movie where the main character is put in front of a lineup, and they... the way they introduce the people for this lineup, the fucking police detective is just like, bring out the perverts! Because he brings out an array of people who have histories as either sex pests, pedophiles, perverts, or have a history of flashing people. I was like, oh my god, okay. And then they bring out this trans woman, and the police chief, I was like, oh no, they bring out the trans woman. Obviously they're gonna bring out the trans woman because, transphobia. Everyone at that time period, even still today, believe that trans women are perverts and are pedophiles because they want excuse me, because they want to, I don't know, fucking ruin the children or whatever, which, no, they don't. Trans women are women, and they just want to exist as women. Good lord. They're not brainwashing anybody. They are existing. So when that happened, I was, like, bracing myself. I was like, oh my god, we're 2 for 2 now. And then the police chief randomly yells, wait a minute! Why is this one here? She doesn't belong here. She belongs in with all the other trans women. He said a different term. I think he said transvestites. He's like, yeah, she belongs with all the other transvestites. And she was like, obviously, I should. And then she sachets off. And I was like, okay, you know what? That could have been worse. It still was like, they dead named her and everything and said that, like, they said her dead name and then her, like, quote unquote alias, as in her, like, name that she wants to go by. But, you know, I guess it could have been worse. We'll take what we can take in this instance. At least they didn't call her outright a pervert, and they were like, hold on a minute, she's not a pervert, she's just a trans woman. It was like, sure, I guess. But this movie is the ultimate case of just some random guy gets pulled into an investigation of a spree of murders for no reason in particular, other than he gets, initially he gets, grounded in Italy because the police chief takes his passport hostage and is like, actually, you're not leaving Italy until I'm through with you. And it was like, what? Hello? He's supposed to leave! He had to cancel his flight and everything because he had to... because he got stuck because the police chief wouldn't give him back his passport. And obviously him and his girlfriend are grounded there because she didn't have her passport, I guess, and was, like, hinging on his. But... so he just took it upon himself to be like, fuck it, I'm solving this murder. This set of murders. And so he sets off... to try to solve the murders. It is, oh my god, the dialogue in this movie is so bad. It is, the acting is strange, which I guess is the point with Dario Argento. Either that or he's just trying to find his groove. Misgendering and dead naming is unfortunately expected for older trans representation. Yeah. I'm not saying that's good by any means. Like, obviously that's shit and that she was, like, misgendered and like, dead named. I'm just saying, at least it could have been worse, but it didn't get worse. It's not good. I'm upset that it still happened, but at least they didn't make her the crux of the problem, because she doesn't show up ever again. Like, that's the only time she ever showed up in the whole movie. But, anyway. Oh, yeah, the dialogue. I was talking about the dialogue. It's how fucking weird it is. It very much felt like I was in a dream. Very much I was like, because you know how you talk in a dream? It feels very, like, nonsensical. Like, you're having a conversation with somebody and it just pivots conversation topics so quickly. Like, 1 minute you're talking about a dog and then suddenly you're talking about what you're gonna eat for lunch, and, you know, like, weird snappiness. Like, it just, like, crosses over with one another. That's kind of what the dialogue was like in this movie. But the weirdest exchange ever happens in this movie. So Sam, he goes off to this antique store to talk to the owner about an employee that worked there who was one of the first victims in this crime spree, this murder spree. To try to get a grasp of who she was as a person and maybe some ideas of the killer if they showed up at the store at all. And so he meets with the store owner, and he is a fucking... he is very fruity. He is a gay man, very clearly attracted to Sam, is actively trying to flirt with him, and oh man, the strangest dialogue exchange happens. So the store owner is talking about the girl, right? And he brings up, he's like, oh, she was such a strange girl. And then Sam was like, oh, well, how so? And he's like, oh, well, she had a proclivity for women. had a very much an interest in women, implying that she was like a lesbian, and Sam was like, oh. And he's like, I'm no racist. You know? I'm no racist. What does that have to do with the fact that the woman that was working for you was a lesbian, potentially? It's so... this is probably an issue with, translating a piece that was most likely written in Italian to English, but, like... It's so good. Court's gay man voice going crazy right now, lol. Oh, okay, look. I watched a lot of movies growing up with effeminate gay men. Like, Nathan Lane's a big example of this. I watched The Birdcage a while ago. Very good movie. For the most part. But, like, people like Nathan Lane, I mean, I have my uncle's gay. There's just, I grew up a lot around, whether in media or in real life, around effeminate gay men, so I kind of have the voice down to a T. I love effeminate gay men. They are lovely, lovely people. But he did sound like that, though. That's not even exaggeration. He was very, very effeminate. Oh my dear, how are we doing today? Can I find something for you? Kind of like that. Maybe not too much, but I just love the fact that he just randomly was like, oh, I'm no racist. It's like, okay. The dialogue is so crazy. It's so weird. But in any case, I think I gotta bring up the biggest issue that I have with this movie is how it treats women in it. Obviously, the victims in this movie are women. All of them are women. And this movie prides itself on having a twist to it, but like I saw the twist a mile away. A mile away. So the movie tries to make you think that the art curator who owned the art gallery that the woman who was initially stabbed in it did it, that he was responsible. But in reality, the woman who was stabbed also is his wife. But in reality, it's his wife who did it. And the whole movie, of course, there's a man actor playing the role of this murderer, so when it's revealed it's a woman, it just doesn't make sense because of the discrepancies there. But even in trying to explain what it is and why this woman did it, they just... I'm laughing because it's absurd, not because I think it's funny. So they explain it as, like, the psychologist goes on to explain this woman experienced immense trauma through being raped, and this man, who, the painter in this movie, we meet a really strange painter. The painter who painted the painting that the woman ended up buying and then starting the murder spree with, he either perpetrated it or witnessed it and ended up painting it, and so she saw the painting later on in life and it like awakened her psychotic tendencies, they put it, and thus she didn't, they said, this is the thing that I remember them saying, she didn't identify with the victim in it, she identified with the killer, and thus she just started killing people. Which doesn't make a single ounce of sense. Trauma, trauma comes out in many different ways, absolutely. People experiencing traumas, I've been through trauma myself, and it came out in very not good ways. But people who go through trauma experience trauma differently. But, I do not think that this movie was well written, and that it accurately had a I don't even think it wanted to have a discussion about women experiencing sexual trauma and how it may manifest. And I think they also tried to use it as a means to explain why a woman would be a killer in the first place, instead of just saying a woman could be a killer. No, she has to be traumatized so heavily that she was just actively killing other women for no reason. It is just... like, even outside of the woman killer, the women in this are treated as powerless. Julia, Sam's girlfriend, is the most perfect example of a woman that could have easily taken charge and handled the situation, but was treated just like a plastic, not even a plastic, a porcelain doll. She was just so fragile. She needed a man to come in and save her. Like, I was yelling at the screen the whole time. So she got stuck in her apartment that she shares with Sam because the killer trapped her in there. And so she was I was screaming at the screen the whole time. I was like, girl, just go get a knife from the kitchen that's, like, right there and have it prepped so that you could kill the killer if they came in. That easy. Made it so much harder than it should have been. And then, because she's just flopping around the floor and screaming the whole time. Which, like, fair, I understand that you're, like, terrified, but also, go get a knife! And then she eventually gets the knife, and the killer's trying to, like, wedge the knife through the door by making a hole in it to try to get into her. And she sees the killer's eyeball, and she goes to strike it, and she misses! You could have put the killer's eye out, and you didn't! Oh my god, I was so mad. Average men writing women moment. Exactly. I'm like, Dario Argento, you're well known for writing and making a movie that a lot of people consider amazing in Suspiria. But honestly, this movie was like garbage when it came to women. It felt very misogynistic in a lot of ways. It just was very uncomfortable, very weird, off-putting. Also, this bird that's in the poster, by the way, is described as the bird with the crystal plumage, which is the catalyst that eventually moves the plot forward, finally, after almost half an hour. And this bird is said to be a rare bird, and that there's only one in Italy. This bird is endangered, indeed. And it's called a gray-horned crane. And I think they said it like came out of Africa, but they didn't say where in Africa. It's the national bird of Uganda, by the way. It's a crane. Is it described as the bird with the crystal plumage in here? I have no fucking clue. I can't seem to find it. Oh yeah, it says it's wrongly attributed to Siberia as its origin, no, it's not. It's the national bird of Uganda. It comes from Africa. It's rare, but not mega rare, is what I mean. In any case, it's a bird. But it makes a very distinctive noise, apparently. In any case, this was a wonky movie. My first ever actual full watch through of a Dario Argento film. Shame that I was not a huge fan of it, because I really liked the poster, I liked how the premise sounded, and I gave it a 3.5. So yeah, that is the penultimate movie, and now I shall delve into the ultimate last movie that I just watched today. And I think it's my favorite so bad it's good movie. Hang on, let me see if I can get it. This one's gonna be hard. Ooh, come on. Oh, can I even show that poster? Uh-oh. I don't think I can show that poster because it's got an almost nude woman on it. can I get the poster from Shudder? I might have to get the poster from Shudder. Hold on a moment. Listen, I don't want to get banned off of YouTube, so we are just gonna take what I got from Shudder. Can I... Oh, ooh, yay, Shudder, thank you! What? Uh-oh. Oh, no. Hang on, I gotta go through a whole process to get this movie poster looking like it should. And to, like, actually open it in a file format that I can actually open it in. Guys, how do you format something into a PNG again? Hold on. How do I change it? Ruh-roh raggy. Shit. Fuck. Hang on, you know what? I gotta work around. I can do this. It's fine. It's gonna look a little weird because I'm cropping it strange. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's gonna have to be the best that I do. I don't wanna get in trouble. I don't wanna get in trouble. Siberia and Uganda are pretty different places. Yeah. I've only seen Suspiria by him, which I like a lot, so it sucks to learn about the misogyny. Yeah. Well, you can't expect every single director to be winners, you know? Every director in their work, I mean. Alright. This last movie is called Death on the Beach. Now, I had to get this poster from Shudder because the other poster had a almost naked woman on it. And I didn't want to get in trouble with YouTube, so we're just gonna use this one. It is also known as, here we go, my fucking horrible Spanish. Muerte en la Playa. It's a Spanish movie. The director, well, I say Spanish. It's a Spanish, like, speaking, like, they speak Spanish in the movie. It is from 1991. Muerte en la Playa. Boy, what can I say about this movie in the non-spoiler segment? This is my new favorite so bad it's good movie. It's not even a horror. It's just very unintentionally funny. Oh my god, I love this movie so much. It is good. I watched it today. I watched it earlier today. Hang on, I'm trying to find something and I'm struggling. Okay. Okay. But look, this movie's not perfect, obviously. But it is my favorite so far, so bad it's good movie. I've laughed the whole time while watching it. I gave it a 3, obviously, on, Letterboxd. Oh, wait, I was trying to find the origin of where it came from. That's right. I don't know where it originates from. Let me see if my good friend Shudder knows. Death on the Beach. Do they know? They say it's Spanish. Which I don't know means if they mean it's a Spanish-speaking movie or if it is Spanish in origin. The director is Enrique Gomez Vadillo. I don't know if this person is... What origin are you from? Oh, Mexico. Okay, so I'm going to assume this is, so it's from a Mexican director. Okay. Sweet. Sorry. I just had to make sure I get that right. So it's from a Mexican director. There you go. So this is about a guy. His name is David. He's coming home from a boarding school of sorts. I don't know if it's Spanish or if it's Spanish. Excuse me. If it's high school or if it's college. I can't for the life of me figure that out. It's very unclear. But he's coming home after a traumatic incident that happened at his school, and he's coming home to his mom, who has a new boyfriend who looks... He looks like an off-brand Paul McCartney, and I can't unsee it. Like an older Paul McCartney, obviously, but he looks like a knockoff Paul McCartney, and it bugged me the whole fucking time, and it also doesn't help that that character's name is Paul. Anyway, his mom has a new girlfriend, excuse me. God, I can't talk today. Ooh, bisexual queen on accident. No, she has a new boyfriend, and she's like an heiress to this business that originally was run by her husband, but her husband died, obviously, and now she runs it and she's super rich. And so David wants to take up the family business. He doesn't want to go back to school because of the trauma that he faced at that school. So he wants to learn the ropes. And obviously his mom's like, absolutely sure you can learn the ropes, but, you know, she's not picking up certain signals that her son is putting off. And it's very uncomfortable. But see, the strife in this movie is between David and his new stepdad-to-be, I guess, Paul. And so that's as much of it as I can say, because if I say any more, we're gonna have to get into the spoiler segments. This movie made me laugh so fucking hard. I was losing my mind. It is not a horror movie. It is trying so hard to be a horror movie, and it is failing. It is a comedy all the way through to me. There's definitely, like, elements of it, like there's murders in it, obviously, but oh my god, it is not even scary in the slightest. It's upsetting in certain portions, but not scary. Welcome back. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You borrowed a book from the library called Dark Air. Ooh, that's cool. I hope you have a fun time reading that. I'm on the last movie that I have watched for lately. Ace of Spades. Oh, I have Ace of Spades. I haven't read that yet, but I've heard it's very, very good. I've been meaning to read that, though, but I just haven't had time because I have so many library books to get through. Anyway, this movie is very funny. I love this movie so much, but obviously, it's not for the faint of heart because of the subject matter that's discussed in it, and, with that, I guess we'll get into the spoilers. Oop, there we go. Spoiler time. If you don't want me to spoil this movie, then, you know, look away. But we're gonna talk about spoilers now for this movie. So this poor guy, David, oh man. I need to say this outright first, though. There is a servant, that works for the family who's deaf. And David degrades him the whole time. He calls him deaf and dumb. He degrades his intelligence. He's like, thank God that you're deaf, because otherwise, you know, you would rat me out or whatever. You don't understand me. And very clearly, the director treated this deaf character as if he actually was dumb, because he doesn't even so much as sign the whole time, or even gives an inkling that he's like reading David's lips and trying to respond back to him in some way. The director just doesn't understand deaf people in the slightest, and it was very infuriating, excuse me, the whole time. Which, of course, it's like 1991 this movie came out, so obviously they're not going to treat deaf people correctly. Oh, I have Me Cute Diary 2. I've been meaning to read that as well. So this is Ever After. Sorry, you're bringing up books, and I'm like, ooh, books! I love books. Sorry, I'm trying to talk about this horror movie, and I'm getting distracted. But I hope you have fun with your reading journey, obviously. I love reading. I'm a reader myself, so, like, have fun with your books. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, excuse me, I am so distracted. Like, yeah, I don't tolerate ableism at all, and it's very upsetting as well that this character ends up getting killed, that he's revealed as, like, well, he's not even revealed as anything. He's just mad at being framed for a murder he didn't even commit. And so he tries to get back at David for that, which is totally fair, but then ends up getting killed for it, which is unfair. The guy deserved to live, because obviously he was the only good character in this fucking movie. I hated every single character except for the deaf character, which also I hate that I can't remember his name. Probably because he didn't even name him once in this movie. Just goes to show the amount of care that people have for disabled people. And during Disability Pride Month, too. God damn. Jesus Christ. Thanks. I love books too much. It's okay. I did distracted a lot, too. That's so fair. Glad to have another reader in our midst. We are always welcoming to readers. So yeah, anyway, sorry. But yeah, fuck that. That's the part. That's a major part of what I hated about this movie. And the other part of it too is just the whole crux of the plot itself, which is that David was raped by a male teacher when he was at school, and he ended up killing that teacher because obviously that's fucked up that he got raped, and he got back at the person that raped him. And so David is gay. He's gay. And he's not interested in women, and the reason he's gay at all is attributed to the rape, which is just not how that works. He states to a friend, Tony, that he liked it when he got raped, and that's why he's gay, and it's yikes. It's a mega yikes. The director does not understand gay people at all. But, David is also, for the most part, not completely, is a sympathetic character because he just wants to be gay. But he keeps his fucking mom's boyfriend is such a shit and is like, you can't be gay. You gotta like women, or else I'm gonna tell your mom that you're gay and you're gonna get the family business taken away from you or whatever. And it's stupid as fuck. And David is like not taking it well. He ends up almost in a throuple with these two guys, and they eventually are like, actually, we're not gonna stay here, we're gonna leave. And they try to rob David of his money and or his watch, and they both end up slipping off a cliffside. Well, one of them ends up slipping off a cliffside, the other one gets pushed gently by the shoulder blade, and they make the funniest screaming noises I have ever heard in my life. They just go, ah! On the way down, and they both die, and David is like, oh, I killed two people, whoops, my bad. Oh my god. And then this girl who's supposed to be his secretary gets paid by his mom to have sex with him, even though he does not want to have sex. Even though he doesn't want to have sex with her, obviously because he's not interested in women, and she comes on to him, and she's not quitting, even though he keeps saying no, and she's like, oh, I was paid a generous sum of money to have sex with you, and he's like, what the fuck, no, get away from me, weirdo. And she gets on him for being gay and calls him all kind of, like, there's the F slurs used throughout this movie very often. And he pushes her out the window and she's like, no! And then she dies, even though it looks like the window is like 2 centimeters off the ground. It's the same thing with the rocks. The rocks don't at all, from the perspective that it's shot, look like there's a steep cliff on the other side. So it's even funnier when you just think that they fell and then they landed in like a shallow body of water and they're fine, and then you look and there's a slope and they're dead. It's so stupid. Oh my god. Oh god. And then David meets this couple. I can't remember the girl's name. I think her name's Nubia, and then the guy's name is Tony, and he's very interested in Tony, and first of all, Tony gets invited to stay with the family for a couple of days while David's mom is out on a business trip. and Tony agrees to stay because he wants to ease the tension between David and his mom's boyfriend. and of course, David confides in him about the rape, which is a sensitive moment, and he also confides in him about being gay. And he tells Tony that he's into him, of course. And Tony's like, but I have a girlfriend. And David's just like, I don't care. I don't care. He's really just like, Nubia who? I want you. And drop her. Be with me instead. It's so dumb. Oh, I for a while thought that Tony might have been into David too, and that he would actually drop his girlfriend who he's planning to marry. Keep that in mind. Put that in the forefront of your brain, that he's wants to marry his girlfriend. I thought he was gonna ditch her and end up with David. That doesn't happen, of course, which is a shame. But also kind of a more horrible thing happens, wherein David's mom's boyfriend, I'm just gonna call him Paul. Paul goes to Tony and asks him for a favor. He's like, okay, I'm gonna give you $10,000 for this wedding that you want to have with your girlfriend if you can get this, if you can get proof that David is gay on camera. And Tony's like, well, how am I supposed to do that? And he's like, well, just you gotta figure that out for yourself, buddy. And Tony mulls on it for a bit, and he's like, okay, I'll do it. Because he wants the money so that he can marry his girlfriend. So already, Tony is such a piece of shit. Because he's agreeing to this horrible deal with Paul to implicate David for being gay so that he can get a gotcha over him to present to his mom so that he can get him out of the picture, which is such shit. Especially because David is going through trauma from having been raped. So, like, that's just another level of shitty. And then there's, like, the cutest little sequence of David and Tony kind of being implied that they're gonna have sex with each other. But they're, like, rolling around in bed and kissing, and David is so happy. It's, like, the happiest he's been in the whole movie since the murders. He's just happy to be with Tony, and they're like kissing, and they're about to have sex with each other, and then Paul, like the asshole he is, bursts into the room, and David's like, what the fuck, obviously, you can't do this, and Paul takes the camera and the tape out, and Tony tries to hold him back from going to go kill his mom's boyfriend, from killing Paul, and that's when David is told about this deal that Tony took. And he's like, how could you? How could you do this? I trusted you. I thought I could tell you everything. I thought I could trust you. I loved you. Like he bared his soul to Tony, and Tony betrayed him by being a fucking shit and taking the money from Paul for his wedding. He's like, I just needed the money. And it's like, bro, you're ratting out a gay person who's not even out of the closet to people yet. He's only out of the closet to you. Oh my god, it was so frustrating. And then David is like, okay, I'm through with these people. He takes the knife that the deaf worker has in his room for some reason that was shown earlier in the movie, and he takes it, and Tony's in the shower, and he stabs Tony in the shower. He kills him after a confrontation with him, and you know, this is the part where David becomes less of a sympathetic figure to me, because he then wipes all of the blood from that murder all over the deaf worker and places the knife beside him. And then he goes and washes himself up to pretend as though he wasn't the one that did that, and it was instead the deaf man. Of course, the deaf man gets put in jail, but he breaks out because he puts the jailholder in chokehold and knocks him out and takes the keys. So, there's that. And David obviously is also trying to find the videotape, and the mom conveniently comes home around this time, to which Paul presents her with the tape. She doesn't even watch it. She confronts David about it, and David, in the saddest sequence of the movie, cries out, "I'm sick. I'm sick. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sick. I didn't mean to do this." And it is so soul-crushing to hear a gay person say that they're sick. And not in, like, I have a cold sick. In, I have a mental disease. Being gay is a mental disease. I am sick. Quote, unquote. It's very devastating. And then in this moment, that's when the deaf man comes back, the deaf worker, and he is got a knife and he's ready to kill David, and he does, and then he gets shot by Paul, and then the mom puts David in her lap, and that's the end of the movie. There's also a part in the movie where David has a nightmare about the rape itself, and it is really disturbing. Probably the most disturbing part of the movie, because it shows him running away in the woods and he's being pursued by a man, and then he trips and he's like stuck against a tree, and the man comes up and he like strokes him and then runs his hand up David's shirt and then goes to like pull his pants down, and the camera's like spinning and disorienting, and then finally like David wakes up from it. In this instance, I was kind of thinking, like, why isn't David running away? And then I remember it's like a dream, so it's obviously one of those moments where you're like stuck, can't move, because it's a dream, and dreams like to torture you sometimes. It's a nightmare, I should say. But you know, this movie is like, it's so bad, but it's good, you know. I love when a writer puts a queer person in their story and you can tell they've never spoken to a queer person in their entire life, and they likely never will, LMAO. Yeah. Like, I love this movie because it is unintentionally funny, but obviously there are very problematic elements to it, like the ableism toward the deaf worker, as well as the handling of of the trauma of David and him being queer as well, and obviously those play a huge factor in this movie, more so with like David being gay, but honestly it is just like the weirdest. The music sounds like it's out of a porno sometimes. It is like really badly acted. They're just random moments. There are 2 random sex scenes that are fully shown in this movie between Paul and David's mom. But yet there's no queer sex for some reason, just the implication of it. It's so stupid. But it is also just very funny. Not horror in the slightest. Makes me laugh. I think it is very funny. Honestly though, if this movie were taken in a more actually good direction, I feel like it could be a very compelling narrative of how, like, it could be about David's burgeoning queerness, but that ends up getting disrupted by this rape that happened because of a teacher, and, you know, like, him trying to come to terms with coming out, but all of that goes awry, of course. You know? Porn music plus bad acting plus fully shown sex scenes. Quartz, I think you might have just watched porn. No, I did not! I I didn't. Why would Shudder put that on their platform? I watched this through Shudder. Of course, I did see some, like, there is full dick out in, from the deaf worker, I'm gonna call him the deaf gardener, because I think he's a gardener. His entire dick is out in that sequence. That's the only time there is a dick out, but the rest, like, it's like, simulated, of course, it's not actual sex, but, I did not watch a porn, I promise. Like, there was more plot than, like, sex in the movie. There were only 2 sex scenes, and then 1 implied almost sex scene. Also, it's really funny because I saw this movie in I think it's in the queer section on Shudder, under, like, queer films. Let me look real quick. Yeah, queer horror. Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker was also under queer horror. Oh, no, it wasn't. That's weird. What the fuck? Hey, Shudder. This movie is unabashedly queer, and it is not under queer horror. I wonder why they didn't put it there. In any instance, I found this organically, by the way, on Shudder. I was, like, scrolling through their movies, and I saw this, and it was just intriguing. And I didn't even realize it was gay until I watched it. But honestly, it could be an interesting exploration of the trauma of, like, rape, of course, and also, like, how that can stunt coming out, even. The horrors of bodily trauma. It also could be a revenge thriller, too. It could be. Had it been handled a lot better. Hey, listen, so, you know, with this and, like, my reimagining of Sleepaway Camp, they gotta hire me on as, like, a writer or something. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, but I would love to write a horror movie sometime, or, like, a redo of a horror movie that's better. If this movie was written by a queer person, it might have been good. That's what I'm saying! If this movie was written by a queer person, I don't know if the actual director of this is queer or not, but I'm going to assume not. If this were written differently, if it had been handled a lot better, I do think this could have been a good exploration of trauma. And, like, a true exploration of like, bodily, trauma, and I already explained myself on that matter. I don't know why I'm repeating myself. But, I do personally think it's very funny, though. I wouldn't recommend this to, like, a lot of people, probably, because they probably watch it and be like, what the fuck, this isn't funny at all, it's terrible. I just personally find humor out of it because of just how poorly acted it is, and just how funny the death sequences are. Tired Chatter been going crazy lately, speaking of your writing. Oh, hey, yeah! Anyway, that's all I gotta say on Death on the Beach, or Muerte en la Playa. Anyways, by the way, guys, just so you're aware, I have a Slender Man series that I'm doing, like a blog that I'm doing called Tired Chatter. I've been trying my best to keep that going as of late. I took a long break because of my interview that was coming up soon, and recently updated it. I'm very proud of the most recent update. And yeah, it's if you want to know where to look for it, it's tiredchatter, one word, .wordpress.com. It's I'm very proud of it. I got inspired by the Slenderman docu-series and on YouTube, and I was like, hey, I'll make a Slenderman series that I've always kind of wanted to do, and we're here now. I'm doing it in the year of our Lord 2024. I've been having fun with it, though, and funny thing is like, I'm just writing it as I go. I don't have a grander plot, like, or like an arc, I guess, or like a grand like storyline that's going on. I'm just writing them as I go, and a lot of it is interspersed with like real-ish events that have been going on in my life. You know what? I guess I could show you a little bit of it. I haven't actually shown you guys the blog. I've just kind of talked about it. Hang on, let me make sure that I hide some very vital things really quickly. First of all, let me pop out chat. Pop out chat. And then let me get this, and then... Not the Bob window. We'll do... What is it? Where is it? There it is. And I will capture this. Is it... Oop. Oop. See what I mean? I don't want you guys to see my thing. There you go. It's real good. Thank you. Also, just hate the random thing from WordPress that's like, upgrade your plan to remove the banner. Like, shut up, I don't care. Oh, you guys can still kind of see the bar. Hang on. You're not... Nope. Wrong thing. Gosh darn it. Hold on. There we go. I don't want you guys to see that. Come on. You guys don't need to know my bookmarks. Alright, there we go. We're good. Anyway, I'm writing under a pseudonym. Laura, obviously. Because I have a problem. But yeah, so here's the blog. It's tirechatter.wordpress.com. And, oh, I got notifications. Wow, people really like my posts. I have quite a few posts on here already. I'll show you guys the very first one. Hello World. It's called... Shush, thank you. So this is the introduction post. I put, I'm going to keep myself anonymous for the time being, so call me by my pseudonym Laura. Currently, I pass the time with doing college work for my degree, petting my sweet dog, reading books, listening to music, writing, and other assorted activities to help pass the time. The purpose of starting this blog is silly, to say the least. My girlfriend urged me to find an outlet where I can write about my dreams or daily goings-on as a means to help with my mental blocks. This wasn't my first thought, but it certainly wasn't my last. Nice to meet you all. We'll report back soon. Oh, I hit 277 subs? Are you joking right now? Wait. Pause. What? Did I hit 277 subs? That's insane if I did. Because I was at 227 earlier. Hold on. Oh, you scared me. I looked at... It's 227. Goodness, jeez. Mistype. Goodness, that scared me. I was like, what? How did I get that many subs that quick? Anyway. Oh, jeez, that scared me. Oh my god. Anyway. Here's my most recent post. It's called Don't Trust Your Heart. It's probably my most favorite one that I've written. I'll read it out to you guys so you guys can get a gist of my writing. And then, you know what I'll do? I'll take a real quick break after this, and then I'll read you guys some poems. Meant 227? Sorry? No, you're fine. You're okay. I'll read you guys this, and then I'll read you guys my poem. My poems that I wrote recently, because I promised you guys poems. No, don't worry about it. You're okay. You're alright. Don't worry about it. You're alright. Alright, so... This one post is called Don't Trust Your Heart. And so it goes, I recently finished up an interview at the job I'm seeking. Crossing a finger they consider me and bring me on. At least that's one less bit of stress pushing at my eyes. Though, in doing my research, maybe this decision was a mistake. I saw his name amongst familiar teachers I once called acquaintances as an adolescent. Hired, on the payroll, roaming the halls we used to hold hands down. I remember the nights texting him, the glow of the screen burning into my retinas as I waited for him to wish me goodnight. I was so entranced in his spell there was little time to recover when he inevitably dropped my heart in the palm of my hand. I'm sure there's still blood soaking in the parking lot where he put his hands all over me. Of course, the dreams after this discovery were anything but pleasant. Trauma is painful like that. He weaseled his way back into my good graces with his charming smile, sprinkle of freckles across the bridge of his nose, and golden curls that bounced like sun rays. I wanted to crush his head beneath my fists for trusting him again and again and again and again. Second chances never got anyone anywhere. I would wake up in the middle of the night sweating, gasping for air. I refused to let myself cry. Not after all these years of the same stupid situation. Then came last night. I blinked into existence within a tangle of trees. Looking up, the moon's beams peeked through the leaves, creating a path forward. Curious, I followed. In the center of the forest rested an opening, lit beautifully to show a ring of mushrooms. If my memory serves me correctly, those were typically signs of fairies nearby. I'd always been fascinated by tales I read in books of mythical creatures that blended into the background, careful not to set foot out of their safe havens lest they get crushed by an overexcited child. I approached slowly, sitting in the middle. Nothing happened for the longest time. Just as I was beginning to believe that I was wasting my time, I saw it slink into view. It towered over me, blocking out the moon with its head, like an eclipse. I heard the buzz. My mouth felt dry. It reached its hand toward me like before. My nose started to run, staining the white night dress I was wearing red. I shook my head. It retracted, standing for a moment and staring. I blinked. It moved back to the tree line. With a sigh, I looked down at my hands, now covered in blood from trying to protect the dress. Laying down within the small circle felt comforting, like there was protection amongst the fungi. A small breeze turned my attention back. It was gone. To where? I'm not sure. All I know is when I eventually shifted to look the other way, I saw it holding something against its chest? Blink. It appeared beside me again. Now I could see what it was holding. I just about retched at the sight of his crushed body, mangled, torn, like a stuffed bear by a bratty child. Far too gruesome to detail in this post. Its free hand extended toward me. This time, I reached forward to hold on. Our palms connected briefly before a loud whistle startled me awake. Excuse me. I have no idea what this thing wants with me. Why does it keep showing up now? Where did it come from? And why is its interest in me, specifically? So, that's the most recent post. This has been ongoing for a while now, since like June, late June, I believe. One of my also personal favorites is I Breathe No Sigh of Relief, Retreading Familiar Ground. Any of the more longer posts where I'm detailing dreams and stuff, I love going into detail about strange dreams. I have had, like, a lot of these dreams that I actually detail on Tired Chatter are dreams that I've had before. The one where I was in a field where I was surrounded with, like, a ring of mushrooms is a dream that I've had before. But, you know, I'm sprinkling in, like, Slenderman stuff. I really, really am liking where it's going so far. And I'm excited to write more about it, honestly. It's just, like, a good exercise in writing, which is, a welcome, change, I guess, or a welcome, thing in my life. I love writing. I love drawing. It's fun. The dream journal is very cool. Thank you. It's a very tired concept, certainly. I'm taking inspiration a lot from Slenderverse series that have done this before. I mean, those episodes of, like, Everyman Hybrid, where they did the dream experiment, I took inspiration from. Any instances in that, a character's experiencing weird dreams and they're detailing it in, like, a video format or a written format. I'm obviously taking inspiration from there. Because I like, how weird dreams can get and how they can impact your waking life, and so yeah, I'm having fun with that so far, and I'm hoping to update it more soon. Maybe I'll do one tomorrow. I don't know. We'll have to see how I'm feeling. But yeah, okay, so I'm gonna take a real quick break to use the restroom and get some more water, and also a lozenge for my throat because it's hurting. And when I get back, I'm gonna read you guys some poems, and then maybe we can talk a little bit more before I head out. I always think weird dreams are fun, even if it's done to death. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's completely fair. Alright, hang on. I'll be right back, folks. Hang in there. When I come back, we'll read some poems. Alright. See you in a moment. Hello everybody, I'm back. I went and threw away a few other things too and got a lozenge, which I'm currently sucking on. If you don't know what a lozenge is, it's like a throat, it's a thing for your throat, to help you, if your throat's sore. But yes, we are back. Also had to make sure that the window thing that I had up was closed and turned off. But we are back. Hope you all are doing well. I hope you guys have been having fun during this little chatty stream. I've been having fun. Certainly. Probably just because I'm just like talking. I love doing talking streams where I can just like chat about nothing forever. My dreams are based on real life and nothing is fantasy based, but they seem real to me. That's fair. Hope you're feeling well. I'm doing pretty good, I would say. My throat's just a bit sore from talking. I don't talk too much in like my everyday life. And when I do, my throat hurts. Anyway, poetry time. Last time I did this was like 2 weeks ago during last stream, I believe. I said I wouldn't do it too often because I want to save them for special occasions, but I was like, whatever. Always fun to chill with the chord screw. Absolutely. It's so much fun to hang with you guys. Alright. But I want to share with you guys some poems. I have a triple threat for you guys today. Now, normally a lot of my poems are personal. I like to write about myself or like my goings on and personal thoughts. Maybe sometimes I'll exaggerate. I think the one that I read you guys, like, possibly in Michigan, was not real, and it was based on the actual, possibly in Michigan, short film. A little bit of, you know, exaggeration and such. But, let's see. These three that I have for you guys today are not personal to me. They are ones that I made up. But if you squint, you might be able to figure out what they're about. Because they are based in something. But I want to see if somebody figures it out. If nobody figures it out, it's okay. But if you squint, you can figure it out. I have another quartet that's based on Twin Peaks. But this one's just this this triple threat. I have a triple threat of poems based in Twin Peaks, but that's not the ones I'm going to read to you guys. I have a triple threat of poems based in something else. Anyway, let's get started, shall we? Don't mind me if you hear weird mouth sounds. I'm moving around the lozenge in my mouth. Alright, so this first one, is called If. Now, I might struggle with this one to read a little bit because my cursive can be a little bit atrocious, and I write a little too closely sometimes. I might also need to, you know what, I'm gonna turn up the brightness on my computer screen so I can read this a little bit better. Because, God almighty, I'm not gonna be able to read it in the dark. Alright. This one's called If. Your eyes captivated me, on nights when the street lamps were our respite. Fingers entwined under reused bed sheets. You always invited on. You always insisted on it, excuse me. But only in the deepest dark. No one but we two know. What will come of our future? She bears a band, and I hold my child every night, wishing it were your face in my mirror. But we hold hands out of sight. I love your eyes. You love my wit. And I couldn't stand the pain. If this love was in vain, so darling, please, let me hold you tight. Murmur declarations of promises we can't keep. No one needs to know about you, about me. The light from the window gives you a glow that I want to take. Nothing would be the same if you hadn't said hey. So please stay, my love. My second half. At least until tomorrow. When we go home and repeat the cycle once more. I did not know you wrote poems, but this poem is great. Oh, thank you. So that was If. That's one. That's the first one I wrote. I love writing narratives. I love writing narratives too. I'm not so much for the rhyming schemes. I just like writing narrative poems. But yeah. That was If. This one is called Hidden from Sight. And it's the second one. This is a trilogy of poems that are all about the same thing. Like I told you, if you squint, you might be able to figure out what this is about, but if you don't, that's okay. I'm making it purposely vague because I kind of don't want people to figure out what I'm writing about. This isn't about me, by the way. I have to reiterate this. This is not about me. None of this is about me or my girlfriend and I at all. Imagine. It's not. Anyway, Hidden from Sight. I hear your voice whenever I walk down the street. Those nights when we strummed the guitar and hummed melodies stuck in our heads. When bliss felt like comfort, when kissing you was easy, I miss our lives together. The spark of joy secret glances gave me, if only because they were mine. Our secret language, walls may talk. Oh, what stories they tell. Of nights spent drunk and lost, dancing in front of the TV set, stumbling, laughing, touching. I miss your wool sweaters that itched against my skin. I miss your warmth that cradled me when I cried. A breeze on the wind brings a chill, and the memory of autumn in a cramped hotel room, lost in our own little world. Our own world, excuse me. Not even she could understand. Our history will be written in the songs you poured your soul into, that I sang to your ears. Take me back in time. I don't want to say goodbye. I miss your dimples. Let me kiss them one more time, love of mine. Instead, I cry over your grave tonight, so I say goodnight. Good night, good night, good night. I'll pluck my guitar and remember your smile for the rest of my life. So that one was hidden from sight. I wrote these two in my really small little notebook, so let me put that one away. This one I wrote in my bigger notebook because I hate how the frickin' paper in my smaller notebooks like to smudge my pencils, my pencil markings. This one's got the better paper, yeah. Don't you just hate it when you get a notebook and the paper quality is so shit, it's literally like smudging your like drawing or your writing. It's so annoying. I hate it. I'm like, please, because it makes it harder for me to read what I've written because it's like all smudging together, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Just let me listen, like, let me Ah! I accidentally closed the YouTuber studio. Jack, can you still hear me? That scared me so bad. These are my favorite ones you've read so far. Thank you. Chat, I lost you. That scared the hell out of me. I was like, chat, no! Oh my god, that scared me. Anyway. Alright. I hate when that happens. Okay. Alright. This one is the last one. And it's called Loving You Means, and then there's an ellipsis. Maybe use a pen? I don't like using pen, because then if I fuck up, then I don't have a way to erase it, because I don't have an eraser, like a pen I can erase with. Anyway, this one's called Loving You Means, and then ellipsis at the end. We're just two peas in a pod, or so they keep telling us. They don't know about the glances, the nights you hold me close, and tell me we are infinite. That we are soulmates, or whatever that word means. I know what your laugh signifies when she asks about the days on the road. Did you miss me? Of course I did, darling. If only she saw your face in the glow of lamplight, tender, thoughtful, all for me. But we've got lives to make for ourselves, you keep telling me. This can't work forever. Everything keeps turning. Don't leave me behind, with the smell of autumn on the breeze, a song lost in your throat. Loving you means everything. This can't work forever. It rings in the spaces where you touched me, where she never could reach. She calls you baby, I call you mine. Pulled into her hemisphere, lost to her hurricane. I thought love was more than holding hands and gazing into eyes. The bed is cold, imprinted with your silhouette. I remember your laugh in my ear when I told you a stupid joke. I remember your chaste kiss in the elevator on the way to mine. How we couldn't keep our hands still, tucked in corners. Loving you means sacrifice. This can't work forever. My mind fights to protest, but you hang on. And so it's the memories I hold tight as I lay awake at night. the ghost of your lips pressed to my hand. Her arms around my torso. I'll love you for the rest of my life, because loving you means keeping you alive, even as we wither away into the soil above the clouds. Of all those words I could not say, then let me love you one last day. And that was Loving You Means, with the ellipsis at the end of it. So, that's the little trilogy of poems that I wrote all today. Well, 2 of those I wrote yesterday. That's one that I wrote, Loving You Means, I wrote today. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. That little poetry slam. Give myself my own little applause. I'll put all of these back now. Put all of my little notebooks back. But yeah, they do have a meaning. It's unconventional, but if you want to figure it out, you can. I don't mind if there's nobody that can figure it out. I'm not going to spell it out. I'm not going to give it away because I kind of find it funny if people don't figure out what I wrote about because it's so stupid. Both of them are so dumb. The meanings behind them are so dumb and, like, they're literal interpretations, but yeah. Yeah, imagine I am clapping, LOL. I enjoyed that very much. Thank you. I'm glad you guys liked it. I love writing poetry. I've explained this before. Last stream, I think. I really love poetry, and I love writing poetry. I've written many poems since high school, and had a resurgence this past year. So, thank you for your applause. But yeah, it's a little fun little thing that I'm doing now, and it's also just fun to like write out little stories in my poems. I actually have one that I think is a little bit too, I don't know if I can read it or not. It's called Dolores, and I think I based it off of Lolita, the infamous book by Vladimir Nabokov. Like, I based it off of it. I don't know if I could read it or not, just because of its subject matter, but, yeah, I just like writing poems. They're fun. Take a sip of water. Anyway, yeah, that was fun. I've been getting a lot more into writing than drawing lately, which I don't know what that says about me, because I've been an artist a good chunk of my life, and I only started taking up writing a lot more seriously when I was 19, so I don't know, I guess I'm swapping out one skill for another. Not that I don't enjoy drawing, I love to draw a lot, but I think writing is just a easier outlet, I guess, for me to, like, just talk about emotions and such. Hang on a moment. Maybe you guys might get a bonus poem. Let me look. Let me look at Dolores and see how bad it is. Maybe I'll read it. Who knows? I was venting in it, probably. Let me check. That's possibly in Michigan. I have one that's just called Anxiety, and it was like me working through an anxiety attack. I'm probably not gonna read that one. Let me skim through Dolores, see how bad it is. And by bad, I don't mean like I wrote about something horrible. I just mean like, you know what I mean? I'm writing by, like, inspired by it, but let me see. Sorry, I'm reading it right now. Hang on. know, maybe I could read it. I think that being creative is usually more fun when you're not familiar with the art form. That's fair. That's understandable. Yeah. You know what? You guys want a bonus poem? You guys want a bonus poem? I skimmed through it. I think it might be okay. I think it might be okay. If YouTube tries to strike me down, like, okay, I'm gonna give a preemptive beforehand. I'm gonna give a disclaimer for anyone who's manually reviewing this in the event that I get struck down because I'm reading this. This is a poem based on a book from 1956. Like, when did Lolita come out? Hang on. The book by Nabokov. Let me look. Lolita. Not the book. 55? I was close. It's by a book. It's based on a book by an author. It's a controversial piece of material, but it in no means is promoting pedophilia. And I've written a poem with a commentary in mind. I am not promoting it. I am merely making a commentary on it. YouTube manual reviewer. That is what my poem is aiming to do. Yeah. Anyway. So, bonus poem. I'll give you guys a bonus poem, because why not? I'm proud of this one, for the most part. This one I might also struggle with. So, bear in mind. I wrote this one back in January, on the 23rd of January. That's how old this one is. It's 6 months old. So, here we go. This one is just called Dolores. A girl walks home from school. Something swelters in her gut. A pain only few at that age will know. Her mind wanders, lost in the past. I think this is Mrs. Herc. Mrs. Herc pulled her aside today. Dolores, what's wrong? Nothing. Why? I think this is she really knows. Oh, she dreadfully knew. All parts of her were see-through. Feel free to confide in me, okay? Just another look. Another problem to fix. Nobody was extending a line. All she could see was the hook. Mother wouldn't be home. Time was of the essence. A girl runs home from school. Lungs aching, sweat breaking. Just a few minutes more. Then she could hide in her room, with a lock on the door. He wouldn't get to her anymore. Dolores, what's on your neck? Dolores, why do you walk with a limp? Dolores, Dolores, Dolores? She couldn't hear them anymore. A girl has made it home from school. Bottles litter the ground, leaking into the carpet. A smell of rotted meat wafts into her mouth. She screams and cries until she's numb on the floor. She hopes he won't hear her anymore. So that one's Dolores. You can obviously tell what I was taking inspiration from there. Let me put this away again. I think that was just a little after I finished reading Lolita for the first time. Because obviously I wanted to know what all the hullabaloo was about and understand if it actually was, like, promoting pedophilia or not. It's not. It's, like, very much a commentary on pedophilia. And, like, you know, condemns Humbert's actions as a disgusting pedophile. And so I was inspired by it to write because the book is entirely from the point of view of Humbert. I was inspired to write a poem somewhat from Dolores' point of view. So, just because I wanted to write about her feelings on the matter. It's probably not going to do her much justice, because I don't think there's ever been a successful adaptation that has captured Dolores' perspective in any way. So, I gave it a crack at it. I just gave a crack at it, and so that's what ultimately came of it. Also a little bit of a vent, but yeah. There you go, some poems for the day. I hope you enjoyed them. I always get kind of shy sharing my work because I feel like I'm like, I don't know, showing off in some way, and it's like bothersome to people. I always kind of felt like that. It's like a weird imposter syndrome where like people are like, oh my god, you're so good at this. You did such a good job. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, I just don't fully believe it. I've never felt that way about my work, in the slightest. So, even those poems, like, I like them, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, like, just sharing them is a bit hard. So, I'm glad to share them, and get positive reception. But yeah. Taking a sip of water. Is your channel? We want to see the things you make. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy. It's always a pleasure to see the responses from people about my art. In whatever form I make it. But yeah. Those are some poems. I probably won't do a poem reading next stream. I'll probably save it for like the stream. Maybe I'll do it every other stream. I'll read you guys a poem here and there. Maybe not as many as I read today, but maybe just like one or two. Unless I get carried away and get egged on by the chat. But yeah. What else? Oh, the charity stream. I forgot I mentioned this last stream, or the stream before. I don't remember. It was one of the streams. I think it was the first stream that I did. We were hanging out. Mentioned if you weren't. Excuse me. God, my stutter is bad. You speak perfectly once, and suddenly your mouth is like, not this time, bucko. Excuse me. So, if you weren't there for that stream, I brought up how I want to do a charity stream for probably medical aid for Palestinians. Raise some money like we did last time for the Marathon of Horror. But this time, I want to do the entirety of Everyman Hybrid. So from like start to finish, make a cohesive timeline, and go through the entirety of the series with you guys, probably over multiple streams, because there's no way I could do the entirety of Everyman Hybrid through one stream, because it took 5 streams for us to get through the entirety of Marble Hornets. It's probably going to take more than that to finish up the entirety of Everyman Hybrid. Especially given, like, commentary and stuff. Oh, jeez, dude. So, that's what I have in mind. I still need to get in contact with moderator Leah to talk about some potential things we could do as, like, stretch goals for the stream, because I talked about it with my girlfriend, but we didn't get very far in it because she was love her to bits and pieces. She was not very helpful. The most that she said was like art, and I was like, okay. I don't know. If we couldn't do Marble Hornets in one stream, there's no way we can do all of VMH in one stream. Yeah, there's no way. That's multiple streams for doing that. So I want to do some stretch goals. I had one in mind. I've since changed my mind of how I want to do that one, which originally it was if we get a certain amount, then I will do like an essay about the links between the book House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski and EMH. But I think it would be funnier if I did a PowerPoint presentation instead. One of my favorite things that I like doing, that I used to do, that I don't do much anymore, is give people PowerPoint presentations summarizing some research that I've done, because I find it more entertaining to put together a slideshow and put a whole lot of effort into it as opposed to like writing an essay. Like, not that I hate writing essays, obviously not, but I just find it a lot I thought it would be funnier if I did a PowerPoint for it and had to present it to you guys as though I were giving a school presentation. I think that would be funny. One other goal that I've come up with since the last time I brought it up was if we hit a certain goal, then I will redraw 1 or 2, maybe all of my fan art that I did, my original fan art that I did for EMH, and show them off, of course. I think that would be fun. I've never seen all of EMH, so I don't know what fandom is like or what people would want, but I will put on my thinking cap about it, haha. That's fair. I want them to be themed around EMH is the thing, because I think it would be compelling to do so. Much like what I was saying with like making like a silly PowerPoint presentation of the comparisons of what's in House of the Leaves versus EMH and the inspirations they took from that book into the series, or redrawing some fan art that I did. And the most extreme one that I have that I'm still on the fence about is getting in contact with one of the people that did EMH, probably like Evan. I don't know about Jeff. I'm really not certain about Jeff. Doing an interview and or having him watch along with us and provide some commentary on the whatever episodes we're on. That one is such a pipe dream. I do not think we could pull through with that one. That would take a lot of planning, and it honestly depends on if that could even be pulled off. I don't think I have the drawing power to get a hold of someone like Evan. He's a regular guy, and I would hate to disturb him, especially now since he was recently in a Slenderverse docu-series that talked about EMH, so I don't know. I'll try and watch all of it before the stream so I can help properly. Leah, sweetheart, my friend, sorry, I did not mean to call you that. My friend, the entirety of EMH is long, because there's not just like the episodes on the YouTube channel, it's a full-blown ARG, so there are multiple videos outside of the EMH channel on other people's YouTube channels, some of which are gone to the sands of time probably, and unretrievable, that actually you have to find them to put together the context of it. So it is long, it is arduous, there is so much context that's missing. There are live streams that you have to watch too. Maybe not the full thing, but you know, get the point. Which is all to say, like, if you want to do that, by all means, but I'm just giving you a heads up beforehand that, like, oh boy. Just understand what you're getting into before you jump into it. I'll make a Pepe Sylvia board and show you my findings, lol. Oh, please. Please do. If you end up doing that, message me on Discord, because you have my Discord now, and you can shoot me a DM whenever. That would be really funny if you just put the Pepe Silva meme next to your little conspiracy board or whatever you put together, your notes. That would be incredible. But in any case, those are like a couple of the ideas I have. We don't know when it is that these streams will happen, because they are all contingent on whether or not I get a job or not. If I get the call sometime this coming week, and it is positive, which it will be, I am going to manifest it. Goodness, didn't mean to slap the mic. Then we're gonna have to work around that, because obviously I'm going to be working probably like 5 days out of the week if I get the job. So the only time I'll be free is the weekends, and even then I don't know if we'll have the energy to do it, but we'll see. We'll see. But we're keeping our calendars open for maybe sometime in August, maybe sometime in September, because obviously the goal of being like the end of July is like non-existent. Because it is technically this is probably the last stream in July, so chat, we gotta keep manifesting. I'm doing the most manifesting I possibly can, so our manifesting combined will apparate in a job. It will. I will promise that. Excuse me, goodness. Alright. But yeah, that's just something to look forward to. It is in the near future. I'm not making any sort of solid plans on it. The most solidness that I can give is parts that will come about from it. There'll probably be some really cool thumbnails that come out from those streams that I'm very excited about. But yeah. Let's see, what do we want to do next stream? I'm trying to think of what to do for next week's stream. Maybe we'll do another Bob Ross stream. That was really fun the last time that we did it. Even though it was really sad that the last 30 minutes last couple of minutes were cut off because the internet cut out and the stream died. Maybe we could do another one of those. Maybe we could do another dating Sims stream. I really don't know what I want to do for stream next time because I just haven't been planning for streams as of late because I've just been stuck in job hell. Forgot to mention I'm getting bangs later today. Sorry for the disruption distracting you. No worries, I hope you have fun getting bangs. Bob Ross stream. Yeah, the Bob Ross stream was really fun the last time we did it because I liked following our little Bob Ross tutorial and painting alongside him in Paint. Maybe I'll do it in Clip Tool excuse me, Clip Tool Sai. Oh my god, Clip Studio Paint. I said Clip Studio Sai because I mixed up Paint Tool Sai. Oh my god. New combination of paint programs. No, Clip Studio Paint. Maybe I'll do it in Clip Studio Paint. Would love to catch up with my close and personal friend Bob Ross. That would be fun. Maybe we'll do a Bob Ross stream again. I know it's not been that long since the last one, and I know that I've been doing a lot of repeat streams as of late, but like, listen, it is so hard to come up with new material. 2 minutes away from midnight, and now I just remembered that you're streaming. Welcome in. I'm ending stream, unfortunately. You came in on the very tail end of me ending stream now. Sorry. But there is a VOD you can watch. We went over a whole bunch of movies that I watched as of recent. Maybe one day I'll share with you guys my Letterboxd. God, my brain is shutting down. It's probably because it's so late at night and my brain's like, go to bed. Please get to sleep. But we'll see what we do next stream. I'll let you guys know in the community tab what I come up with for next stream in the next couple of days. But I will also keep you guys informed about that phone call about the job prospect. Crossing a finger, knocking on wood, manifesting I'm getting that job. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this stream. It was very chaotic, but I had a fun time. I love talking about movies with you guys, and also I'm happy to have shared some poems with you all. Makes me want to write them even more, and I probably will. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Make sure you get something to eat if you haven't eaten anything yet. Make sure you get something to drink if you haven't drank anything yet. Make sure to take your meds. Take your meds. That's very, 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 very important. Make sure you, if you're doing summer school, make sure you study for that test or do your homework. It's better to do it late than never, as I always say. Hope you get the job. Thank you. Make sure you pet your pets, water your plants, brush your hair, brush your teeth. It's okay. You can come in next time. Brush your hair, brush your teeth, pet your pets, water your plants, take a shower if you haven't yet. Do what you need to do to take care of yourselves. Just know that I love you and I care about you, and there are people in your life that love and care about you as well. And I will catch you guys next time. Bye! Bye-bye! Bye! See you guys later. Bye! Bye-bye!